Welcome back.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Brooklyn Lou. I'll put the link here in the chat for you. I sent it to your email again, but I'll put it here. There you go. I figured that's where you were was here, but in chat, which is cool. Good to see everybody today. Let me get my camera in the right place here. So who we got out here? PC. Uh, Dux Y. Good to see you. Uh, oh well. It decided to make your picture huge for some reason. Why did it do that? Hold on a second. Let me fix this. Sorry, Lou. There we go. Now, did I screw up everything else too? Yeah. I don't know. We I don't know why I did any of that. I've got the on-screen chat screwed up now. Anyway, that's good enough, right? Are we here? Are we doing it? What's up, Lou? How are you?
Good. How's the sound? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
All
Sound
right.
sound sound is good.
Awesome. I was looking forward to this. It's an honor to be on your channel. Appreciate it.
Oh well, thanks. I'm glad to have you here. Actually, I'm glad we get to sit down and talk finally. Uh, I watched. I've watched some of your stuff interacting on other channels, and then I've watched a couple things on your channel too. And you seem to do a lot of kind of the same thing I do. A lot of open panels and just chatting with folks about whatever it is, whatever subject they want to bring into it. I notice you get a lot of silly apologists, huh?
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I enjoy interacting with the apologist, and
Sure.
this type of discussion to me is a joy because I'm talking to another skeptic and another atheist. So
Well,
this
that's
is really
that's
fun.
that's part of why I do this because I mean I have theists on sometimes whenever if one of them wants to talk and they claim they can have an honest conversation, then I'm more than happy to have theists come on, and sometimes they do. But I really focus a lot of my time on talking to other atheists, skeptics, agnostics, really anybody who can have an honest conversation. I'm game to talk to. But the that usually ends up being a fellow skeptic, though, right?
Yeah, and but it's so important. And I feel wonderful to interact with other atheists because
Yeah.
in my own private little world, I don't get that opportunity. You know,
Well,
everyone around me is pretty much a Christian, so it's
come.
really fun to be able to actually talk to other atheists, and that's one of the beauties of YouTube.
Well, make it down to the art protest next year, and I'll put you up. Uh,
I I saw what you were doing this year, and
mm,
I thought it was wonderful. I just didn't have the opportunity to
oh
actually
no,
participate. But
I understand. I mean, it's a lot to first of all come to Kentucky, where like it is might as well be a foreign land to a lot of people, right? And um, to do the traveling, and then also if you do end up like getting a hotel or whatever, man, it racks up the money quick, and it's a lot of time and a lot of energy, and but once we all got there, and we had a couple different Airbnbs, and between Jess and I, and Jess was just as much of organizing that and putting it all together as I was. Jess, we both did lots and lots and lots of things. But between Jess and I, we put up almost like what, almost 20 people that we ended up taking care of at least their rooming. Like we didn't. I think the people that stayed at the Airbnb with Jess, I think they threw in some, but it was still like a fraction of what it would have been to get a hotel room on Fourth of July weekend. So
Yes.
yeah, and but everybody that stayed at the Airbnb I was at, I paid for that with sponsorship money. So we just covered the full cost of everybody that stayed there. They didn't pay a dime for that. Uh, but yeah, man, it was really a fun and fantastic time getting to see everybody and meet people that I talk to all the time. And I got to meet Jay Bundy and Ember and uh, Sinister Porpoise and Purple Rhymes with Orange and Robin and and my buddy Will was there. That's all the people that like stayed at the house I was at the whole time. But there was a lot of people that came, a lot of different creators. Godless Engineer was there with KC. The Skeptic was there. Godless Granny was there. I mean, we had a lot of creators show up for it, and then also Tri-State Freethinkers, which is in a different part of Kentucky than I am. They, of course, have a following and stuff, so a lot of their people came, and we got to meet people who aren't necessarily out here making content like Jim and Chrissy Helton, but are huge. I mean, just huge. People in like the atheist activist space. I mean, Jim Helton's been all over the country and set up groups everywhere and stuff, and ex-president of American Atheists, and I mean has done a lot. And but a lot of people don't know who he is. He doesn't make content and stuff. He does it on the ground. And um, working with Tri-State Freethinkers was just awesome. That the whole Ark Encounter thing was just a blast. And I know people went to a lot of other conferences and stuff this summer. There was a lot going on, but the art protest is kind of different from those other things, right? It's not a conference,
You
not
know,
yet anyway.
I think what you did there was very important. It's very important that there's pushback against all the misinformation out there. You know,
Yeah,
there's so much
well,
propaganda that people listen to because it comes from a religious organization, or it's mind-boggling to me, like how much misinformation is out there. And just to give a clear voice to science is so needed in our country. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
was thinking what you did was wonderful and heroic, really, because it's so needed. And I
Well,
wish I could have been there. I hopefully next year, if you do it again, I
yeah.
can join.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's we're doing it this year. I'm actually a representative of Tri-State Freethinkers now, and they are taking it back over for the 10th anniversary. But I'm still the main person planning it and doing things. But we haven't really got into doing much yet, of course, because we just had it and kind of a layover time in between. It'd be probably the end of the year. We'll start going at it hard again on the art protests, but yeah, would love to have you. And can I mean if you're interested in coming and stuff, probably even get you, on stage, do a little small speaking part if you like.
That would be fun.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about what you just talked about. Um, so I found out at the end of the pandemic. Well, let's just put it this way: the year before last, I had asked a bunch of friends that I'd met on YouTube to come to Kentucky, and we would all go to the art protests. Like, come hang out for the weekend with me here where I live, and then we would make the trip down and go to the art protests and end the weekend that way. And come to find out, like a week before everybody was supposed to come, they had decided not to do the art protest again until the 10th anniversary. And I wanted to do it the year before last, but uh, there was just no time to set it up. And so I was like, well, we'll do it. We'll make sure it happens next year. And so we set it up for the following year. And I mean, it was one of those things where I just felt like it was important that we keep doing that. Like, and that's all it was. I just feel like with everything that Ken Ham is doing down there. And we have this Ark Encounter protest, a thing that's already established. People know what it is. They know where it is. They know that they know those things. And so the blueprint and the roadmap to do it was kind of already there, which is what made it really, easy for me to just kind of jump in. Now, not to say there wasn't a shit ton of stuff we had to do, but and then we ended up getting we made a little bit of money fundraising, and then we got a huge sponsorship from Pangburn, and Pangburn sponsored us to the tune of $2,500, and and all Travis asked for in return was that I hang a sign up that says Pangburn on it on stage, and that we mentioned that we help promote the idea that Pangburn is out there and wants to help fund your next atheist event, your next political event. They want to help fund those things. And Travis is looking to fund stuff wherever he can. So we got together and talked about it, and he gave us he really made it possible to be what it was. And oh shit. I was talking too much. My doobie went out. But
What are you smoking there, Joe?
this is called Gray Peyton.
Oh my goodness.
But the
That's a big bag, man.
yeah, it's about 3/4 of an ounce maybe.
Yeah, that's it. For me, that's a nice sized bag. I get them in little containers, the eighths. You
Yeah,
know.
I mean honestly, I usually do too. One of my buddies gave that to me. Just hooked me up for being a good friend, and so
That's
but
cool.
so for you, Lou, my first question to you would be, why do you hate God?
Well, it's a kind of interesting, good question. Um, I don't hate God because we know that God is not real, but but I do think that the concept of God in our country is just a really negative thing. I think that it promotes the misinformation, the propaganda that goes out there in the name of God,
Yeah,
the Christian God in America for the most part. And it's a very, very dangerous road we're going down as a country. Because I see that the Christian nationalists have made a lot of inroads in the last couple of years, where
yeah,
they are becoming, I think, more powerful and organized in this country. And
yeah,
you know, the God of the Bible, obviously we know he's a monster, right? so,
yeah.
so I don't see any reason to applaud the belief in you know a celestial monster in the sky. So
Yeah, right. No, yeah, and I mean, obviously, the question was a little tongue in cheek, right?
yeah,
It
of course.
was meant to be that way. The and I'm sure not the first time it's been either said to you or you've came
Yeah.
across apologists saying this thing. Uh, the It's always a funny question to me because it's like hate God. That's like hating Santa Claus or
Yes.
leprechauns or like like
Or the
uh,
Joker. Like
yeah,
I hate the
something
Joker.
some like you hate something you don't believe. And why would I don't believe that thing exists. Why would I use the energy and things to like hate something that's not there. That would seem that if I did that, I would kind of be like maybe mentally ill a little bit or something. Like,
Yes.
I'm not
Well,
sure
at
what you would
least,
call that, but I think that's probably not a good thing.
Joe, at
Um,
least brainwashed. At least brainwashed. You know?
yeah, I was definitely brainwashed, but it wasn't when I became an atheist. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember it's. Excuse me. It's so subtle too the way that they start doing it. Like, at least here, like, you start out with kids and you give them little coloring sheets that have Noah's Ark or something like that on it, and just like, oh, here, color this like it's a fun thing to do, and um, but they're planting the seed there already of filling your head with all this crazy shit. And one of the things that I that sticks out to me though is that they even as children, the idea of like questioning in any way is just immediately stamped out with fear. Like, they use threats of burning for an eternity on children to make them too scared to question, so to believe crazy things. When I was 5 years old, and I've told this story a couple times to people, but when I was 5 years old, I was in Sunday school. I was raised in Southern Baptist Church, and I remember we were doing one of those things about Noah's Ark, and we had little coloring sheets, and it was one of those ones that has like all the animals sticking out the top.
Yep.
And we were in Sunday school, and so I said, there's animals there, but how did they fit all those animals on the boat? Now I was 5 years old, and the the response from the Sunday school teacher, which was one of the teachers at my school, was, if you want to ask questions, you can burn in hell, to a 5 year old. And it's like, even even though they try to like act like it's a good thing. I mean, they start out with threats to children to get them to believe things. Let me read this super chat real quick because it's a question for you. And Native Atheist sent a $5 super chat. Question for Lou: are there a lot of atheists where you live? Would have super chatted more, but I'm between jobs. Native Atheist, I appreciate your generosity in any form, and you've been a member since I started having memberships, and a big supporter of this channel. So please leave that shit at home, man. You're good. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Lou. What do you think?
Well, Native, I think you're awesome, by the way. I appreciate everything you're doing. Um, in my area, I live in Florida. There's not many atheists that I encounter. All right. Most of the people in this area are Christians, but of course, a lot of them aren't really, practicing or that fundamentalist. But Christianity is the thought in my area. I don't even know in my inner circle of people I meet face to face. I don't even know an atheist. Any
Yeah,
atheist I know has been online. So yeah,
yeah.
I don't encounter many atheists. And maybe some of them don't say anything. That's possible
I think there's a
because
lot of that.
yeah, because it's not a Florida's part of the Bible Belt. It's very conservative politically. So it might be difficult even for atheists to talk about such things,
Yeah.
when they're just
No.
out and
Yeah.
about. But no, no, I don't know any atheists in my area.
Yeah. Well, again, one more time, Native Atheist, thank you for your generosity. But yeah, I feel you, man. So my girlfriend is an atheist, and we've started doing a show together on Mondays called Our Unholy Union. Um, and me and her sit and just kind of really just talk like we would any other time. And But that's the only atheist I know where I live. Like I don't know of anyone. I know of some people that like don't buy the whole church thing and are like anti-church and all that. But I don't know of anybody else that like says they're an atheist. So I feel you, Lou. Same
Same
boat.
same type of environment, I guess.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. It's and people can feel isolated by that, and I think that's why it's important that we do what we do. Um, I don't care. Like my channel is not huge, not even among atheist channels, I'm like a nobody, for the most part. Um, but the people I've met and stuff that are atheists that I get to talk to and do stuff like this, sitting here talking to you in Florida who has a shared experience with me,
Yeah.
um, getting set and do that stuff is not only like just great for my mental health, first of all, because isolated in Bible Belt USA, but it's fun. And I've met some of the nicest, greatest people, just amazing folks. Very few people have I met doing this that are part of this community anyway, uh, that I've ever had any kind of problem with whatsoever. We did have a little stir up here a while back, but you know, just bumps along the way, and but it's really been a great thing, and I think that um, I kind of made a joke when I named the channel the Kentucky Atheist. Like I'm the Kentucky Atheist. The only one was kind of the joke. And whenever I started doing this, I've met dozens of other atheists in Kentucky now because the Kentucky Atheists, people, come just because it's Kentucky stuff. And I've met so many other atheists that are in the same situation. Like, I don't know another atheist around me, and they're isolated. And having a positive community that's there and will talk to you about anything and is like-minded, and that you can share your thoughts and things with about these things, and not fear for your life or safety in doing so. Um, I just think it's an amazing, awesome thing, and one of the most useful tools that we have.
Absolutely. I did a video a while back, um, just explaining that, I'm over 60, I'm an atheist, and I found community on
Yeah,
YouTube, you know, and that was something that I didn't really know if that was going to happen when I started, on YouTube, but it has happened, and I appreciate it immensely, that I can talk to people different parts of the world and have some common ground that we just don't believe in gods.
yeah,
And, in the church, they foster that, the community thing. They spend millions and millions of dollars on, promoting their particular churches, et cetera, et cetera. And in this community, I see each person as an individual, and each person has their own way of thinking. They're free thinking, and I'm just grateful to be a part of the
yeah,
internet YouTube community of atheists. So
yeah,
it's a wonderful thing.
yeah, yeah. It's and not only those things, but at the same time, there's such a wide variety of folks that are creators in the atheist community
Right.
that are either experts or just very well educated in their fields. And it's so awesome that, like, um I never thought, even as an atheist creator, I never thought that I would sit down and have a conversation with someone who was uh, Egyptologist, right? Um, but then I met, sorry, having problems with the name. What's her
It,
name?
it's that smoke, bro.
Deviant Outcast. I met Deviant Outcast, and she is an expert on ancient Egypt, and so there's a lot of things related to Christianity that go on in Egypt. So it was really cool to get to sit down and talk with her and just to learn and absorb information and refine ideas and to feel confident that, you know, I know the truth about the world that I live in to some degree, based on, those things that comport with reality are true, right? Um, so there's just so many different ways that I can make it a selfish thing. Because it benefits me too. I don't make a bunch of money doing this or anything. In fact, most months I don't even cash out on YouTube. I don't even break the $100 thing to cash out. But um, it's never been about that, right? But there still is that. There's people who pay memberships and pay money to come hang out in the member streams and stuff, which are going to start back this week. They may not be every week. I may do one every other week starting out, but I'll be back at that. Oh, the first thing you hear is, "I'm glad you came in when you heard your name and not when I forgot it." Oh, wait, no, you did. Never mind. But yeah, it's there's just so much that we gain from each other, and um, I don't know if I would still be an atheist on my own, but I don't. I know for sure that I wouldn't be as educated in a number of areas because
Yeah.
of it. And learning those things, sparked curiosity to learn either more about those things or some related thing or whatever. We talk about one of the things I find really cool about like earth science is the geologic column, right? It's I think that's just a really neat thing, and like especially whenever you get into one of the arguments that apologists actually make about polystrate uh, fossils of trees, and so when I was like, oh, that's interesting, and for me, that would not be enough, even if it was completely unexplained and seemed to be supernatural. I don't think that would make me believe in a god, and it certainly wouldn't make me worship one. But it's like whenever that I first heard that stupid ass argument, I was like, why is that like that? And so I was able to go do the research on a place like Talk Origins, and and to learn why it's that way and how it is and why and what's what. And so you're able to grow uh, in a hold on, how do I want to put this? So Richard Dawkins used the term cultural Christians,
Mm.
right, and caught a bunch of shit for that. But I do think that I'm sure you live in a Christian culture. I for sure do. Even if I'm not practicing that, and I'm trying to even break some of that. But at the same time, whenever you are able to learn things and do stuff that way, you do it without all that Christian culture baggage, and without all that um, emotional bullshit that comes with that. And it's just been a really good way to grow in a number of ways. I think. And to see people helping each other, and the world may be shit in a lot of ways, but not all of it is. There's a lot of good out there.
Yeah, and I want to say this, just looking back on, the years that I've been an atheist and how I became an atheist to begin with. It's for me, it's always about seeking out truth and seeking out, more information and stuff that can make me think more accurately. You
Yeah.
know, it's always been about seeking truth. You know,
Yeah.
and I find in the atheist community, at least online, there's so many really smart, brilliant people. You know, there's so much intelligence there. So I learn a lot from different channels. If I'm not sure about something academic, I try to climb the ladder of academia and go to the more, you know, in depth people like Josh Bowen, Kip Davis, to get some academic credibility behind some of the stuff I'm learning. But it's always about truth for me. And I can't help but think that in the Christian world, I just don't think it's about truth. It's about just maintaining this belief.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about continuing to lie to yourself and make yourself believe a lie. It's
Yeah.
literally make believe, uh, making themselves believe, uh, which is crazy talk, I think. But I used to believe it too.
Yeah, me too. But I'll tell you what, and I'm so happy I'm out. you know. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to be out.
Kip Davis is another expert I got to talk to that was just really really awesome. And like Kip is a cool dude anyway, and he's funny, and he's a lot of fun to talk to. But whenever you ask him a question that relates to his field, like something, he's a expert in Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah,
Whenever you ask him something about that, you see the switch flip, and it's business then, right? He's like because he knows it and stuff, but yet it's just neat being friends with people who are experts and stuff, and you can just, if I got a question about something, I usually know somebody I can call or ask or something. And um, that's that's why it's so good to have people of so many different perspectives, though. um,
yeah. I find in the Christian mindset there is this overwhelming bias. That you're not
sure.
allowed to actually question. You're not allowed to really push the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And that just has no appeal to me at all. I mean, if somebody can actually prove to me there's a God, I'm interested in knowing it.
Yeah.
I would like to know, but I'm so far beyond the bullshit, right? I'm beyond that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
but
I
I
mean,
never want to be closed minded. You know, I just want to keep my mind open, but I want to seek what is true, what is real. Not
yeah.
just what makes me feel good. And at the heart of the Christian world that I came out of, it was a lot about, you know, does it make you feel good,
Oh,
and
sure.
that
Sure.
that is no longer a part of my thinking anymore, and I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for that.
Well, it's so one of the things that a lot of people disagree with me on, even some atheists have disagreed with me on this, but I don't think that you choose your beliefs, right? Like I can't choose to believe in God or Krishna or whatever. Like I can't just say, oh, I'm going to believe that's true, because I don't. It's either you're convinced something's true or you're not, or maybe you're convinced it's not true, but um, it's it's always, for me, it's troubling because a lot of the arguments and bullshit comes from the position of like, why don't you just believe in God? Stop being an atheist. I mean, Kent Hovind, both times I debated him, right before we started the show, he he told me, we're gonna get you converted today, Joe. Yeah, you can come down here to Lenox, Alabama, and hang out with me at Dinosaur Adventureland. And yeah, like he's and I was like, can't I don't think it works like that. Like I'm open to having my mind changed if you provide evidence sufficient enough to make me feel that way, right? Like, but you have to get over that hump. And maybe my standard of evidence is really high for the all powerful, all knowing, all loving creator of the universe. Maybe my standard is, I set the bar a little high on the evidence that would do that. I don't know what exactly that is, but I mean, I'm just saying there is this, hypothetical hump that you have to get over to achieve that. And I don't I don't know I don't know that it's even possible for that to be reached, given how what we call it God. I mean, for the gods I know of, they're nowhere close to it. So, but if sufficient evidence was given, hypothetically, um, I would change my mind. Like when I was convinced, there wouldn't be a choice, right? If you convinced me, you've convinced me. That's it. It's not at no point during that do I have a choice. Do I have a choice of what parts of it I'm going to accept or not or whatever? And sure, you can be skeptical and question and go look, which is what I encourage, obviously. But it's such a weird thing what they do, and so much of everything with them is projection, and it's so weird to talk to people who don't realize that they're doing it. Like even when you point it out, they're like, oh no, that's like whenever they say you think the universe came from nothing, and it's like, wait a minute, that's
Yeah.
your position. You think that God poofed the universe out of nothing. Like that's
Right.
not what I said. That's your position. And they do that with argument after argument after argument, and it just gets fucking tiring. It just gets old fucking quick.
It's so scripted.
Yeah.
They hear an argument. Um, there's so much money put into Christian apologetics. If you go to a church, a lot of times they will have an apologist come in and do a presentation because they're trying to keep people in the fold. And
Yeah.
and that type of information just gets out there. It's like marketing. It's like
Yeah.
so the average person sitting in the pew, so to say, or just going to church, they're just hearing this over and over and over. And then when you talk to them, that's what you hear, the same stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, something coming from nothing. I mean, that's been around a long time. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's like one of the OG arguments, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we
Yeah.
hear it all the time. But where does it come from, right? It comes from presentations in churches.
Yeah.
And
Kent
and
Hovind.
the amount, yeah. Well, Kent
Yeah.
Hovind, I remember a long time ago, he was doing the circuit, the church circuit.
Well, his videos that he tries to hawk, all the time. That's what they are. Is his him going and speaking at different churches and stuff.
Yes, and they call it resources in the Christian world. Oh,
Uh,
we have resources, the Kent Hovind series.
yeah, I've got a resource for dog shit too, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go get it.
But it's crazy. But I want to ask you a question because
Yeah,
we're talking. We're talking about deep stuff, right?
yeah,
Um, the not choosing or choosing what you believe. I see it both ways. I can see it both ways, right?
yeah,
But the one thing that I think, and I'm just looking back on my own experience, you know, um, when I really became an evangelical, sold out, born again Christian, all right. there was a moment when I look back and reflect on it that I had to take that leap of faith, you know, because I didn't know that these things were true, right? But I had to take a leap of faith. And that
Yeah.
leap of faith, in some ways, can be a choice, you know?
I can see that in a kind of way. Um, uh, I would, I get what you mean though. Like there's some points where you're like, well, do I accept this? You know, that this unknown part here, but it seems to connect here. Like I get where there's parts where you can question things and decide to, well, that doesn't seem to be like a really important thing, so I'm going to kind of, you know, not consider that in the totality or what. Like I get that. Like there's certain points along the way where you can make choices. The I think though that, and not talking about in like the whole like uh I can't remember what I'm talking about. There's not a I think somewhat whenever that leap of faith part though, I think really that's just another thing about, do I believe this without anything supporting it or not, and faith is the a perfect word for that, um, and that does exist, and that you that there is some amount of choice there.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't.
I mean, an
Yeah,
element anyway, on a
yeah,
personal level, right?
yeah. I
You know,
think there's.
like I remember thinking when I became born again, remember thinking, is it real? Is it not real? All that sort of stuff. And the leap of faith that I'm talking about would be like you're thinking about it. You got people looking to you. That's also part of it, to see where you're going to fall. Are you going to be part of this clan of people or not? And there's a little pressure to make a decision, you know,
Yeah.
and and you kind of I think you have to take a leap of faith. That's what I'm referring to.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's definitely, because the Christianity and a lot of the dogma that they believe and practice is not in the Bible, which is the primary source of how to practice Christianity. It's the instruction booklet, the claim, um, and you have to, yeah, you it doesn't get you there because it doesn't provide evidence and
Right.
reason for things. It just tells you this is the way it is. And so, yeah, you definitely, in Christian belief, there's a lot of points where you have to do that, I think. Um,
And then when you do that, what happens? You get all encouragement from the church,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
make this decision, you go public, maybe you go to the altar call and
yeah,
you take a leap of faith, and then immediately everyone is patting you on the back. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, good, this is great. And then you actually get people who step up, and in Christianity they call it discipleship. So you get
right,
these people who step up, and it's almost like an older counselor type person, or even a couple or something, and they take you under their wings, and they're looking at you to develop your faith, and it becomes like social pressure, you know.
yeah.
And if you put a lot of social pressure on someone, kind of influences their choices, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. There, and I did a video on it a while back, but there is. a sociological study that where they talk about all this stuff is controlled by culture, and you can lay it out on a heat map. If you're born here, you'll be raised and believe this. If you're born here, you'll be raised and believe this, because of exactly what you're talking about. It's part of the culture. It's not like forced on people in a violent way all the time, although that does happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's forced passively through tying itself to culture, and that's starting to change a little bit because people are aware of this, right? And so it's 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 hard to get people to understand that too, that are believers. Like, I can show you a map even of the United States, and here's where the Catholics live, and here's where the Mormons live, and here's where the Southern Baptist people are, and here's where the Pentecostals are. Like, you can lay all that out on a map, because it's just part of social culture, and you're to be part of that social group, which of course you're going to want to be.
Yeah.
You kind of have to get on board with the other things with it, and that's what indoctrination is because these are the unquestionables. This is who we are, top thing. And it's not who we are, is it? It's not at all who we are. It's religion is a made up set of things that says you better believe, or you're gonna face the consequences. It's completely obvious throughout history that it was used to control people, and that it was used to form tyrannical governments, and to murder millions. Um, One of the things I say to theists all the time, everyone I talk to, is that if it happens to be that there is no God, or if it just happens to be that none of the religions on earth are right, then that means religion is the most harmful thing that man has ever imposed on fellow man. Uh, it is the ugliest thing in history that we have, and shows how primitive and barbaric humans can be, and for sure were at some top time. Um, but that moral. That moral background that has evolved along the way uh, has done it not because of Christianity or any other religion, but in spite of it. It's very much it grows and changes where the words in that book don't,
Yeah.
and so that's my commentary on
What
it.
I think is these religions might have played a positive role at certain periods of time,
Yeah.
you know, in our evolution. With the human species evolving, there could have been times when religion played some positive role just in
Mm.
developing our minds and psychology and all this stuff, right? But I really believe that if there was positives, those positives are not today. Now it's become a real negative, I think.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
no, I think it's a net negative on humanity,
me too.
and I don't know what metric you would use to say otherwise. The What's up, Jester? $2 super chat. Hello from the roadside. Hey, Jester, be careful out there, buddy. Good to see you. Haven't got to talk to you in a minute. Um, but yeah, no, I think we're pretty well in agreement on
Yeah,
that stuff. Yeah,
but
it's
there was like there is some benefit to individuals if they become religious.
yeah.
The benefit would be what I was talking about before. Some social benefit in group. Well, I'm in the group that has power. So as
Yeah.
being a member of this
Yeah.
group, I have some power
Well,
I may not have had. You know,
I try to be careful about whenever I talk to believers about this subject. I try to be careful that I tell them that it's not the individual at all. That, like, it's not what people believe, it's what they do with those beliefs that I take the most issue with. And sure, I think, now that I've seen the absurdity of the Bible and Christian claims, like, I think it's silly. But I understand indoctrination is a thing, and that they're
yeah,
not silly for believing. They're doing exactly what they were supposed to do, culturally, and um, it, we have progressed though to where we have access to information, in your pocket at all times. Nobody goes anywhere without their phone, and sure, there's people without phones. Like, there's an exception always, but the you have access to so much information that it's starting to the information age is starting to kind of stomp out a lot of that, because people are able to go and look. Young Earth creationists, I think, are shooting themselves in the foot left and right now, because what they're doing is they make these outrageous claims about dinosaurs, and Kent tried to argue something about the Loch Ness monster when I talked to him, but, like, you know, just completely silly shit. And whenever they do that, their followers have to be like, well, that one's pretty well out there. Let me go look at that. Now, I know most of them don't. I know they don't. They're not going to go look at anything. But whenever you say something silly enough that it really catches somebody's attention, they will. Not to prove you wrong, but just to be like, that's an interesting story. I want to go look at it. And then they find out that young Earth creationists are full of shit. And I think they're doing the most harm to themselves right now than anything, and that's why young Earth creationists are shrinking in numbers. But
that's very interesting because I
yeah,
know you do a lot of work in the young Earth creationist world of
yeah,
dialogue, and I'm unaware of if it's shrinking, and it's good to know it is shrinking. You know?
yeah,
because because the thing is that they seem to dig in deeper and deeper,
yeah.
and they become more radical in their beliefs. You know.
Well, see, back at the time that Ken Ham was doing some of his stuff with AIG, um, the statistic was is that for every one person that came into young Earth creationism, it converted into it, five left. So, I mean, they were losing people left and right. And part of Ken Ham's, and he's said as much in other words, but his whole plot is get them when they're kids,
Hmm.
and set them down and tell them this is the way it is as children, and some of those children are gonna be lifelong young Earth creationists then. And so there's videos of Ken Ham in like the theater at the Ark Encounter, where he's saying the Earth is 6,000 years old, and the kids repeat the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
Um, Evolution is not science. It's man's word. But everything he says, and he says his whole spiel that he always says, he has the kids repeat after him doing it. And I mean, I think the reason for I think it's pretty obvious what he's doing, and I think that um, somebody's had to, even if he would be oblivious to it, somebody's had to tell him, like, this is how you brainwash people. Like,
It's got to be because
mm,
98% of scientists agree that evolution is real, right?
oh yeah, yeah,
But and yet that's 98%. I mean, it's getting close to 100%, right? It's really high.
yeah,
But yet we still have these people who run around giving this propaganda, and you still have people buying into it. And
yeah,
that amazes me. So in a way, with their funding and with their systems,
mm,
they're clinging to that belief, and they're still able to persuade some people,
yeah.
and
Well,
it's crazy.
there's a new number that's updated on this, but Pew Research, the prior Pew Research papers that came out said that 37% of adults in the United States believe the Earth is less than 10,000 years old and was created in a single creation event.
Yeah.
And that the Garden of Eden's a real thing, Adam and
Yeah.
Eve, all that, right? So 37% of adults believe in the claims of young Earth creationists, whether they identify as young Earth creationists or not. That's what they are if they believe that. And so it's not as small a number as people think. But I do know in the newer one too, the numbers did go down there. Now in Kentucky, of course, that number's much higher, and that's why I focus a lot on young Earth creationist stuff. Is because it's what I was raised in. It's I live in the middle of everybody here's a young Earth creationist. That's Christians are young Earth creationists in this part of the state. It's
Really?
just yeah. So it's one of those things that I'm familiar with and just have more experience with. So I do a lot of that. I'll talk to theists about anything, but also once you get into that area, though, like once you've argued with Donnie and Ken Hovind and uh, some of the other folks in that area, once you've argued with them, though, that's what comes to your doorstep. Like
Yeah.
it's but I'll talk to any Christian about anything. The and I've heard all different things and all that, and uh, my my thoughts on like their arguments are I think the way I sum it up is like this, and this applies to any Christian young earth creationist or not, is each person defines God into existence based on their moral code, or their view of morality, and people prioritize that differently based on their experiences and what's happened to them. So you may have some, like, what would be your number one moral thing may be different than mine, but that's no big deal, whatever, looking at it that way. But then whenever you're taking a God who you have to create from you know, experience in your life, or indoctrination, in which case you're getting someone else's experience.
Mhm.
Uh, but the way that that's just done is, it's, I don't know, it's so strange. It's just like, when you look at it like that, it's like, why do they, that leap of faith you're talking about, like
Yeah.
why did they do it there? Like, why, what, one of the things we talked about last time, for example, Eric Lionheart, he, I mean, me and him had an awful time, and
Yeah. You told me
uh,
about that.
yeah, but like he would say, well, Mary Schweitzer, this and that, and I would play the clip of her saying that he's wrong, and then he would just be like it was either a conspiracy, oh, they're getting paid and blah blah blah, and there's money and power, and so the scientists are just lying. Like, she said that and they told her she couldn't be saying that she found that, and that's why she walked back on it. And it's like, okay, if it's a conspiracy, what evidence do you have that this took place, that's but tell me anything that points to that. And then the other thing is like, they'll they'll use sources that refute the things that they're saying. Um,
Yeah. I've seen that.
I was over on what's that channel called, Deviant Outcast, where I was at, that they shut it down because on the mitochondrial Eve thing, Proverbs guys. I was over there after I did a debate with Joseph, who is one of Kent Hovind's people, and I went over there, and they tried to talk about mitochondrial Eve to show that we all came from two people. And so they're like, oh, look. So they pulled up a Wikipedia page, and they're reading the first couple sentences of the Wikipedia page saying, see, everything goes back to this Eve. This is Eve from the garden. And I'm like, that's not what that means.
Yeah.
First of all, like, you don't know that. And I was like, and if you could, go ahead and read the next sentence past what you just read. And that sentence read, a lot of young Earth creationists try to take this and use it to say that it was Adam and Eve, but that's
Yeah.
not what this is, and refutes it. I mean, blows away what they're saying. And he sat there and kept trying to use it as a source to say that we all came from two people. And I was like, buddy, do you not understand how this works? Your source says you're wrong. Like, if that's the source you're using, then you lost. Like,
It's
you,
like they're just trying to grab something,
yeah.
They're
Well,
looking, like, I know about the mitochondrial Eve, and
yeah.
I just have heard about it, but that has nothing to do with Adam and Eve.
No, no.
That
So,
has
so
nothing to do with that.
it, mitochondrial Eve, what it is they can trace human DNA um, back to every female shares DNA with this DNA from Africa back at a certain time, and that so, but that wasn't to say that DNA, wherever it originated, that everybody shares. It's not to say that that was the only person. It's just to say that we've been able to trace lineage all the way back to here because,
Yeah.
um, we are all related, just not in the way that they want to say we are.
But isn't there like this weird thing because it says mitochondrial Eve, they jump on Eve. They
Yeah,
oh
yeah. It's a misnomer because they this and I wish scientists would stop doing this. I wish they would stop using religious terminology when talking about scientific things because this is what happens, and it helps people to deny science is what this does. Is that just because of a naming thing? And like I don't think they did it on purpose or anything like that, but
no.
it's
It's
just
it gives these people something to grab onto
yeah,
because they
it,
see Eve
yeah,
and then, oh, that supports my position. There was an Eve, and that's totally not what we was talking
right,
about. It's crazy. Like people
right,
just want to. That's confirmation bias, 101. It's like, I already believe this, and then I see an article that says mitochondrial Eve. I don't take the time to really understand it. I just, oh, this proves my point. And I think that's what the guy debating you was doing, It's like,
yeah. Yeah, and to answer your question, chalkboard chaplain. Um, what I'm trying to say is mitochondrial Eve. Even if you did track it back to a single source, which a single source means a population here. We're not talking about one individual when we say single source. Like um, this population shared this DNA, and it was passed down. Um, Hereditary to the next ancestors and on, and that's what evolution is, first of all. But it's not to say that that was the only person, it's or the only population. It's just saying we've tracked it back to this. If you continue to trace that back, and they have on some other parts of DNA, that's how we know so much about Neanderthals and uh, Denisovians. I forget what the fucking word is. Who cares? The That's how we track it back to these other races of humans that we share DNA with. That's how we know that through genetics. So it's not to say that we've traced it back to a single source and that is the source. It's just along the way we found this population that we can trace all the way back that far, and it's the furthest one we can trace back. But at no point does it claim that that is the only person or the original DNA. That's not the claim that it's making. And if you look up mitochondrial Eve, it will spell that out for you in the first couple sentences. Okay, sorry.
good explanation.
Yeah. Well, I want to make sure I'm thorough.
Yeah.
But
Wonderful.
uh, yeah, and one of the things is too is like if I called you up and I was like, oh yeah, Lou, I talked to a theist today, and you'd be like, what'd you talk about? If I said contingency, you would know what that conversation was about. If I said fine tuning, if I said uh, catastrophism, if I said, you know, young Earth creation, if I said one of those things, you don't have to ask me what that conversation is because it's been had over and
Yeah.
over and over, and we keep telling them over and over and over, and they keep coming back with the same arguments. And so one of the things, and this is a question, by the way, I'm not just rambling. Um, uh, I'm going to ask you about your experience with this, but I will tell them, I'll be like, hey, why don't you come have a conversation with me? And I'm not going to ask you to prove God exists or anything like that. I just want to talk about what you believe and why. And that's it. But please don't bring your apologist arguments. Like, come and just talk to me about why you believe what you believe, not the argument of why you can say it's true or the arguments that you picked up from other people later on, but why you believe. And not a one of them can do it. Every time they come on, like the last guy I had on, the very first thing he started doing as soon as he made the watchmaker argument, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, like, and then whenever before I could even answer that, he made another one, and he went watchmaker argument, contingency, fine tuning, he just right through them all, and I was like, we do this all the time, and it's so hard to get them to go away from just wanting to make those same arguments. Do you find that you can't, get anything other than out of them as well?
You know, my experience is that they don't have anything else other than these same arguments.
Yeah,
So it's like all they have. These arguments have been debunked thousands and thousands of times. You know, and that's one of the amazing things to me. I mean, when I came out of religion, these were the arguments that I was hearing that were trying to keep me in religion. And that was at least 12 years ago. And they're the same arguments today. Nothing has
yeah,
changed. It's like the same exact arguments over and over.
yeah.
And they've been thoroughly debunked. Like it's like, you
I've
know,
gotten to where I try because, like, I know the standard answer to most of those arguments. Like, I know I've heard answers to those questions from multiple sources and what seems to be the consensus among the atheist community as far as arguing that. The uh, uh, sorry, Lou. Um,
you
what
know,
something popped up on the screen? What was I saying?
well, we're talking about the arguments, how repetitive they
They,
are. And
yeah, so I know the standard answer to those arguments. That's what I was saying.
yeah.
But I've gotten to where, like, I try to have fun with it now, and I try to find different ways to respond, like still using the same facts and evidence, but just like to explain it in a different way, and just to have fun with it because it's so standard and repetitive. It's over and over and over, like, and one of the things that sucks about that too is we have all these apologetics and stuff, but they don't ever really want to get into the Bible and the source material and stuff like that. They want to make these philosophical arguments, and they want to make these, like, just look at the trees type thing,
Yeah.
like, they want to just do that kind of stuff. And that's, I feel like at this point that's went on so long and been answered so many times, like Frank Turek's arguments have been thoroughly debunked by at least like 30 mainstream atheists along the way, and and probably total atheists, probably hundreds, maybe thousands, have debunked the things that Frank Turek says. And yet the same arguments persist, and sometimes it makes me feel like, hey, you've had to have seen this argument thoroughly destroyed over and over, and that I can put you in a position where you're not going to be able to answer. Like, so why do you continue to do this? I feel like it's kind of dishonest in a way to keep doing that. Like, They just want to, which one of these arguments that I know from apologetics can I catch him on that he doesn't know something about? And I can say, aha, you don't know this thing, so therefore the default is my position, when it's not. But I just think it's kind of dishonest in a lot of ways. Apologetics is dirty, nasty, greasy, greasy
I
group of people.
totally see the same thing. I think it
Yeah,
is dishonest. I don't know if it's purposely dishonest,
not
but
always.
it's
I think Kent
definitely
Hovind's
not,
purposely
you know,
dishonest.
because I think of it as a brainwashing type of thing.
Sure.
You know, they
No,
don't,
no.
the
The
brainwash
indoctrination
doesn't
and the
go there
cultural
anymore,
impact is
you know.
is huge.
It's like
Like,
it's like you could go down that argument and then you reach the point where it's thoroughly debunked and they just dash off to another argument, you
yeah,
know, because they're not
yeah,
going
and
to,
yeah. No,
actually
they'll gish gallop
face,
the shit out of you if you let them.
they're not going to face the actual argument. When you go deeper and deeper, they lose every time.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's like, but right when they're gonna lose, they dart off to something else.
The
Deflect off to something else.
the claims of Christianity that you must accept, and sure, you can be a Christian just by believing Jesus is the Son of God that died for your sins, right? Like, and is coming back one day. Yeah, you can be a Christian with just that, but there's a lot of baggage in that book that comes with it, and it's like okay, well, there's some things that like are clearly false, and there's some things that are just not supported enough to say that it's there's no way to say it's valid. So there's no reason to suggest that it's true. Some of the claims that are made, and yet you even have Christians that will throw out some of those things and just be like, "Well, I don't care. I believe in the Jesus part of it, and that's good enough." And the Bible kind of says that that's true, but then you have the literalists, or call themselves literalists. They never are. They there's always parts of it that they don't. They still eat shrimp. They shit like that. They love bacon. Uh, the But the fundamentalists, like, one of the weird things is whenever they, like, the more you debunk them, instead of coming out towards the light, instead of coming towards reason and facts and reality, they dig deeper into their hole and end up fanatical a lot of times. And there's been a lot of studies on that, of like the death throes of religion will be violent and gross because that's what they'll do. And I think that's sad, but not to say that's like factually this is how it's going to go. I'm just saying there are some sociological studies that suggest as much.
Oh, I think it's very sad. That's why, I think that's ultimately why we're here, right, on YouTube, because it is sad. It's sad for society. It's sad for these people. It's sad for both society and the individual that's caught up in it. It holds people back. And
So,
in education, right?
oh yeah,
If
yeah,
you're
no,
if
it
you're
stifles
becoming
education greatly.
educated,
Yeah,
you're going to learn things that are going to disagree and go against the religion you're believing in. And then you're forced, well, do I stay with the religion or do I actually try to educate myself?
well, just so you know, Lou, Fireman versus Atheists is here, and they are going to expose the hypocrisy and contradiction amongst atheists. They're here to expose us.
To save the day.
I got a question. Coming and attacking me or any other atheist by I'm going to expose your hypocrisy and contradiction. Coming and doing that, does that make it any more likely that a God exists in any way? Does it further the conversation and move the needle in any way to show that I'm a hypocrite? Here, I'll give you some dirt on me now. I was a heroin addict for 20 years and cheated and stole, did all kinds of awful things. So there you go. Go write it down somewhere. I'm an awful person, I guess. And but what does that do for anything to do with the claims that God exists? What
Nothing.
like what are you? You just want to attack me? Then do it. Like go for it, big boy. I don't know that you're a boy. I'm just throwing words around, but yeah,
And
whatever.
I will add to that, um, attacking a person or their logic or their reasoning, all
Yeah,
that stuff. Absolutely, you're correct, Joe. That does nothing to prove you're God. Nothing.
yeah,
I mean, I could be the dumbest person in the world. All right. That doesn't make your God real. So
yeah.
it absolutely, you
I,
know.
I I can't stand when they come at me sideways like that. It's like why even come at me that way? If you want to talk to me about this publicly, even and have that conversation, just say so. Like that. I'm gonna expose the hypocrisy. Like there is no hypocrisy, and I'm not convinced what you believe is true is true. There's nothing there. Like I don't think that stuff's true.
Yeah, and then
That's
they
it.
go into the thing where they got this concept of a world view, you know.
Would
I'm
you
going
like to
to
talk? Would you like
attack
to talk to
your
this person, Lou?
worldview, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the difference? Your God is undetectable. Okay, he's not there. So, you know, until you can demonstrate your God is there and is doing anything at all, it doesn't matter what my worldview is. It means nothing.
Yeah, yeah, no, it doesn't tell you anything about any of that. It's that's the best I can do for you, fireman. If you wanna come on and say something, uh, you can come on and expose Lou and I both for the scoundrels we are. Um, we've
The
sat here
art.
and we've sat here and talked about how great community is, and that it's not believers, it's things they do, and we have talked about some of the harm that Christian culture and ideology imposes on other people and things. But for the most part, I think we've been pretty charitable. And so, if you want to come on and expose me for that, then please click that link and let's do it.
And I
Uh,
love to be exposed as well.
yeah, yeah. I try to be exposed as often as possible. But
You
yeah,
know, Joe, I'm waiting because I'm one of these guys that in some ways I just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's like I'm waiting for the videos to come out exposing me, you know, from the
yeah,
Christian side. And I'm like, that'll be fun to watch, you know.
yeah. Like, I mean, there's definitely flaws that you could find in me. There's definitely things that I'm not perfect at, but I've never claimed as much, and I don't. I think that striving to do better is what you do. Like, but I'm here for the smoke. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah.
This is gonna be fun. I'm looking.
Yeah. Yeah. If you need me to post the link again, just say so, and I will. But or if somebody wants to pin it, they can. Um, well, don't pin it. Never mind, because I don't want everybody to join on that link. Not yet, anyway. It's just this is the exact same thing we were talking about. Is like whenever apologists come sideways with their arguments and things, but it's completely ineffective and usually some kind of red herring and like for sure with creationists, every creationist argument is filled with fallacies and falsehoods. Uh, quoting the great Aaron Ra on that, but. Uh, Foundational Falsehoods of Creationism, his book. recommend it to everybody. And if you get the Audible version, he narrates it, and it's if you want to get a good foundation and the basics on the fallacies and falsehoods of creationism, then that is a great place to start. And it's not a big thick book. It's not, it's a good one. I recommend it highly. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, like I know a lot of people who in this space, atheists that are like, well, I'm not going to talk about the claims of young Earth creationists because that's absurd, and most Christians don't even believe that, and things like that, and that's true, but it's not by much. It's not like an overwhelming number. There's a whole hell of a lot of people that do believe that stuff's true, a lot, and I mean, when you're talking about 37% of adults in the country, that's a lot of fucking people. And although a lot of the apologists in that space, the Kent Hovens and Ken Hams and Ray Comforts and Frank Turek's and all of those people in that area, there's a lot of them are problematic and stuff, but they're the people that they're following and going to, and you can, there's multiple ways to look at it. Yeah, there's not really an argument to be had. Science, it's pretty well established, settled science about the things to do with philosophy, or not philosophy, but evolution and geology and those things. We understand those to the point that the claims of young Earth creationists are not just evidently not true. They're or that's the thing. It's not that it's just not evidently true. It's that it's evidently not true. And you know, it's true that these things are settled or whatever. But there's people, millions of people, who are listening to the things they say. And if I can stick my foot in there and break that for a moment, even if it's not really helpful to us. I feel like it's okay to do that. But I get I get why people feel that way about young Earth creationism, though. It is silly. It's
It's
completely
very
fucking silly.
it's unbelievably ignorant, and yet there are so many people who believe it, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like I
yeah,
would be embarrassed if I had a child today and they grew up and then they went to college and they going to some class on human biology or something,
uh,
and they were to stand up and say, well, you know I believe in Adam and Eve, and I think it's embarrassing, like, to do that, like, to me it's showing like they're ignorant,
yeah,
but that's how I see it. I mean, to me it's a very dumb thing to be thinking, you know
yeah, 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 yeah. No, it is. There's there's just no part of it that is true. There's no truth in the claims of young Earth. I keep quoting Aaron Ron. I'm not doing it on purpose, but I mean that's just the it's the best thing I know to say about it. There's no truth to it. There's just it's wild claims supported by either nothing or mythology or make believe. And one of the things whenever, and the challenge that I've put out as far as like doing debates, I'm not really crazy about debates, but like one of the debate I've always wanted to do is like, I don't want you to prove God's true or anything. I want you to just give me any reason, absent the Bible, that I should believe the claims of Christianity. And or you can use the Bible if you want, but I just think, with the Bible, if you're going to use the Bible as the source, there's parts of the Bible that can be questioned. So then you get to the thing of like interpretation too. And is your interpretation better than this other interpretation? If so, how and why? Like, so I think that's why I say absent the Bible. But if someone wants to make arguments from the Bible, they can. I don't give a shit. Like, we can do that. But really, it would be nice to just kind of skip that part and let's get to any reason that that I would think it's true, absent cultural indoctrination and stuff. Like, why would without the Bible, no one would ever come to the conclusion of the Christian God. No one would ever think any of those things. And the
What,
God of the Bible that goes around revealing Himself to everybody in the Old Testament, why can't He do that now? Like, if God has the ball's in His court, right? If a God exists, it's on Him to come and reveal Himself to me in a way that I will believe. Otherwise, it seems to be that He would intend for me to be an atheist. So how does that make sense? Would it be your claim that my creator God created me to live and be an atheist so that I could burn in hell? Like, because if that's the claim, then we've got a moral crisis on our hands here, and killing people for fun top thing. So, like, there's a lot of questions there.
and
I
there
don't know.
there is theology that would say that,
Yeah, sure, sure, yeah,
Calvinist type philosophy or theology
yeah, yeah,
would say, you were born to go to hell.
yeah. It's part of the plan. You have to go suffer for eternity
And it's
because
like
it's part of the plan.
too bad for you, and
Yeah.
I'm one of the fortunate ones. He chose me.
So, do you think, like, because I think praying, like the way that they talk about God's plan and stuff, I think the act of praying is kind of blasphemous. Like,
Yeah.
because you're God and who is it? The comedian,
You talking about
the
George Carlin?
George Carlin talked about this. Yeah,
Love that guy.
yeah, yeah. In fact, I watched part of that particular act last night. But uh, I forgot the question I was asking though. I blank out a lot, man.
That's because you were smoking something.
Yeah, it's when it's yeah. That's exactly what it is actually. But
That actually makes me blank out a lot. By the way,
yeah,
uh, it makes me blank out quite often.
yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes that's the point. But
Yeah, it's not I don't think it's a bad thing, as long as it's not all the time.
yeah, that motherfucker ain't gonna light back up. It's gonna fall apart. But
So where was the
he said
Christian
he'd be.
guy?
They said they'd be here in a minute, and well, they said a second a few minutes ago. I think he's just trolling us.
Probably.
Yeah, but I mean, they got the link if they want to do it. The uh, it seems like that nobody would ever come to that conclusion. And even if they did, again, I think it would arise the same way that the claims of gods arise, from the beginning. I think it originated with man realizing that they were flawed, and so they could imagine a person that wasn't flawed. And I mean, at the most basic level. And then I think there's a lot of a lot of the mechanisms that run the world. Um, they just didn't have a way to explain it, so they explained it the best way they could at the time, which allowed for magic and gods and all those things. And I think that once you allow magic to be part of your worldview of how to explain anything, like if magic is a possible answer to explain anything, then you're gonna get some wild stories and stuff, right? Because then there's never a time, that's impossible magic, you know, if you're just going to go around violating the laws of physics and nature just all willy nilly, then yeah, you're probably going to say some silly stuff, and that's kind of what it was, you know, like.
I remember when I was a Christian, and I used to say things like, well, if God can, do that, well, then he could do something else. But it was always the magical thing, right? You
Yeah,
know, well, God can make a donkey talk because he also created the heavens and earth. And it's always magical, is exactly what it is. And
yeah,
once you accept magic,
yeah.
literally, there is nothing you will not or cannot believe. Nothing.
Right, right. It doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah,
It,
because
it's
anything can be true.
right. Yeah, you don't have to stay within the guidelines to get there. You're jumping the fence and going around, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and that's
um,
that's religion. That's
that
totally
that's
religion.
that's why whenever they say that God explains this or that, that's why it's like it's the claim. It doesn't explain anything. Like, in fact, you know, if we just accepted the Earth was 6,000 years old, you know, and didn't go and do the science and the study to find out otherwise, then how much would that stifle our education and science and technology and all these things because of the science denial that goes on basic stuff, like you know. Well, the Grand Canyon was formed in the flood. No, it wasn't, and we know it. We know that's not true. It's not just that there's no evidence of that. There's literal mountains of evidence that shows that that's not the case. So, um, and then you have to ask yourself a question of, you know, which of these things seems to most likely be the case, because science doesn't operate in the area of absolutes. So, you know, which one of these things is the most supported thing and is best explained by the evidence? Like, and whenever we do that, at no time does a worldwide flood pop up on the radar, because it's horse shit and it wouldn't work and it didn't happen, and the heat problem, for fuck's sake. Like, but it's just it's like, but then they go ahead and they build off of that. Well, this other thing is this way because back here we had the flood, you know, and you know, incest and genocide is kind of the theme, but it just never goes anywhere because it's just like you've never, it doesn't explain anything. Like, that's the
No,
problem.
that's totally like true.
Yeah.
This concept that they have of God, I like sometimes I go God, right?
Yeah.
This concept that they have of this God
That's
is
like Jesus.
it doesn't explain nothing at all.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like it's just saying, well, there's magic. There's magic in the world, and
Yeah.
my God does magic, and his magic is better than that God. You know, it's so dumb and ignorant. So
I,
I I cannot even understand why I used to believe such ridiculous nonsense. You know?
so I imagine all of you, or most of you for sure, are already subscribed to Brooklyn Lou the Skeptic channel. But I just put a link in the chat there for anybody that isn't. Go over there and subscribe to Lou's channel and check out some of his stuff. You'll like it.
Appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no problem. Whenever I have guests on, I'm just entering like this exclamation point Lou. Like, if you're ever here watching something, you can just put that and you put exclamation point Lou and it'll pop up with your information. And you can do that anytime now that I've put it in there. So like the people that I have on, I just enter their stuff and you can go back and top any of those, and there's things for Robin and Dave and all kinds of people. But yeah, so check out Lou's channel. But No, I mean, it gets. There are times where there is like a fun, like it is fun to go and argue some of this stuff, depending on what it is. Like there is an aspect of it to where it's a good time to go and let's talk about evolution and stuff because it's a subject I enjoy, whether they believe it's true or not, and because I like it, I enjoy talking to other people about it, you know. And so there is some aspects of it where like it's kind of fun to do those things, but it it wears off quick. You get over it pretty quick, and it's like for me, it's like, oh, we got a theist. What's it going to be today? And a lot of times, like I'll even my girlfriend Laura, I tell her I'll be like, I bet you $10 this guy's going to come and talk about contingency, and I bet that's what the argument's going to be like because it's predictable, predictably wrong. Uh,
It's so crazy that you hear the same thing over and over.
oh yeah,
It's like there's never anything new that I really hear. And
yeah,
I've heard these guys because I'm not really good at math, but I've heard these people arguing from the perspective of math for God, you know.
yeah,
It's like, they give this thing of the probability is, 100 to the something power and all this stuff. And it's all baloney, once you really get into it. But it sounds intelligent, you know, but I don't hear anything. I mean, I hear the cosmological argument,
hmm,
teleological argument, you know,
yeah,
it's the same stuff over and over.
yeah. And I think for a period of time, whenever like atheist debates and stuff started to go a little bit more mainstream and things, I think there was a period of time where like atheists would go and just they would make arguments about the problem of evil and suffering and things like that. And I think like over time though, those arguments have been made, and it's just like we've told you, yeah, and you just like atheists a lot of times don't even make those arguments anymore. Just like, and they shouldn't, because it's not. You don't have to sit here and teach somebody and explain all the reasons unless that's what you want to do. But like, it's not your job to be somebody's educator. Like, the things you say, like the things you say are not supported. So give me any reason. Evidence would be nice, but just give me any reason why I should believe that. um but and it's just it's over. Like it's it's one of those things, and it's like we keep arguing about it, but it like evolution. There is, and the word theory, they drive me nuts with the word theory. Oh my god, I hate it. Like they're always like well, evolution's just a theory. Uh,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I've heard that myself.
Gravity's just a theory too. Seems to work. Uh, the no, no, but it's like okay, so we're gonna have to. And I've gotten now to where it's like we lay out definitions before we even start, because when I say when I say evolution, um, I'm talking about either the theory of evolution or the fact that evolution occurs. Because regardless of what you think God did or anything else, it is a fact that evolution occurs. It does occur. The theory of evolution is because even though we've observed evolution occurring on both the micro and macro scale that they like to use, we've seen both of those. We've seen variation and we've seen speciation. So we've seen that in the field, we've seen it in the lab. So it's observed. Evolution is true, it happens. But the difference is that the theory of evolution is the times we didn't see it happen, right? Those are the times where it holds true every time we look, so we're going to assume that it would hold true if we looked again. Let's see. Let's see if what we get out of this here.
Miss Fireman.
Yeah, 1 second, and I'll fix you here, fireman. We gotta go here. I gotta pull you off and put you. 1 second. Oh,
Okay, I just want you to let you know I took my camera off. I rather no camera, but I will talk.
oh no, you don't. You
All
don't have to
right.
call on camera. You're fine.
And
Okay.
welcome, Fireman.
Yeah. What's
Hey,
up
yeah,
with you?
thank you, man. Thank you, man. Hey, man. See, some people get too uptight, man. It's just a conversation as far as I'm concerned. I'm not mad with anybody for what they believe. It's like if
Yeah.
you like vanilla ice cream and I like chocolate, it's just a discussion. So
Yeah. No,
I'm
I
with
respect
that,
that.
Fireman.
I respect what everybody believes.
I think you'll find that I'm pretty kind about those things. I'm not. I was, I was just talking smack. I'm not. In
No, it's
fact,
all
my
right.
audience gets on me all the time for being too nice to people. So,
Right.
yeah,
Um,
I, I don't
and
think
it's funny. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think that the fact that we may disagree on even some very fundamental aspect of reality, I don't think that that means we have to hate each other. So I'm not a
Great.
hateful person.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and it sounds that we can have a great conversation and dialogue. Probably one of the best that I ever had with an atheist, and I'm excited about it, man. And I hope so.
Well, I mean, you want to sit down and talk?
Yes, yes, we can chop it up. I'll start with my argument. Let's dive straight into it.
Okay, go ahead.
I believe that there's hypocrisy in I think it's hypocrisy in atheism and pretty much every religion if we really delve into it,
Sure.
except maybe one, and we'll talk about it. And I'm not saying that means that that belief is true, but we can talk about that later on if you remember. Put that on a mental coat hanger.
Okay.
But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that well, let's start here. I'll start with a question because see,
Okay.
when I talk to most atheists, I'll be honest, they won't answer simple questions. So hopefully we can do that. Then we can get to the truth of how I feel.
Sure.
It's you know anything about the Bible? For just a little something, maybe
I'm
thirty
I'm
percent
I'm
of it.
comfortable discussing the Bible.
Okay, great, great. Now, would you say that stealing is a sin according to the Bible in the scriptures?
According to the Bible, stealing is a sin.
Thank you. Now, because see, my argument is simple. You're gonna see, we're gonna get to it right quick. It's not gonna be a long, drawn out thing. Okay. Now, do you believe that robbing someone and taking their stuff is wrong? Do you believe that
Do I
as
believe
an
what now?
atheist?
One more time.
As an atheist, do you also believe that? Let's say I come rob you, take your stuff, break in your house, rob you, gunpoint, all that, take your stuff, which is stealing. Would would do you think that's wrong also?
Yeah. Yes, I think that robbing someone, stealing from them, is also morally wrong.
Mhm.
So now I'm about to tie in the two. So
Okay.
basically, inherently, I believe that atheists really just have one disagreement with theists. And I talk to a lot of y'all, and that would be the definition, which you would say the lack of a belief in God, correct?
Right.
Yeah, and most atheists would self-profess that and say, "Hey, man, that's the only difference." And you know what? I agree with it, but I just see it from an angle of hypocrisy now. So basically, you don't agree. You just don't agree with God. This is my logic. You just don't agree with God, but you still agree with sin. Subconsciously, whether you admit it or not, which some would say is right or wrong, good and bad, laws, however you want to break it down, whatever term you want to use. But I find it funny that morals, then that's the name. That see, I've talked to enough atheists to know the talking points. Y'all will say morals, then you'll say morals are subjective and objective, and I don't like to get into that. I absolutely hate that dialogue when we talk about
I
subjective
I do too.
because thank you, thank you. Because I believe it either exists or not. And and in all fairness, sir, I believe in actually having a debate and a conversation. Some people like
Yeah.
to talk all the time. Some people like to talk over you. But I spoke my piece, sir, and now I give you the floor. I can see, and you can have the floor for the same amount of time I did, or however it's your show. But in all politeness, there you go,
So
sir.
you want me to tackle this one, Lou, or you want to say
I
something?
mean, I guess we can both add
Well,
what we
you
think.
go ahead, Lou.
All right. Well, Fireman, I appreciate your thoughts.
Yes, sir.
Right. I there's I don't know what you're saying specifically is hypocrisy. Like, be specific. What is
He's
it?
Okay,
saying we borrow our
I'll give you an
moral code
example.
from the
I'll
Bible.
give you an example, right? You don't believe in God, but you still uphold the values of the Bible, which
Right.
is right and wrong, right and wrong, good or bad, which we would call sin. The
Right.
Bible would call sin. That's why I started the conversation off with the question, and I asked the gentleman, was stealing right or wrong according to the Bible? And you can rewind the tape. That was my very first question.
No, I still
Okay.
And
agree. The Bible says it's a sin to
now
steal,
what I'm
but it's
saying is,
also morally wrong.
simply what I'm saying is, even though you don't believe in God, as you say, but I still think you believe in sin. And you would say, nah, fireman, no, that's wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. We don't believe in sin. But I'm saying, well, you're still upholding the values of sin, which is, not to take a person's life alive. And I'm not gonna say that word because I think we banned from saying that word. Y'all know the two words, the
Do you,
K and the N word. But unalive, I think that's the thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're right. Now, unaliving someone, we know those are things, values that we even hold in this society. But I'm asking the atheist, why are you still holding on to that value? What?
So,
Because
so,
it's the same thing that the Christian holds on to. And now
so,
we'll get into. Go ahead, but go ahead. Sorry.
uh, so, fireman, I don't like to answer a question with a question, but in this particular situation, I think it's going to kind of show my position on this. So,
Okay.
do you think that the Bible is the originator of saying that stealing is bad and we shouldn't steal from each other?
No, well, I'm not saying that, and I knew that would come up. But here's my stance on that. I'm sorry, I can't speak for any other book and what it says. I can only speak for the book I believe in and bring out the scriptures. If you know another scripture, quatrain, whatever it may be writing, you could bring it out. We can hash it out. But I'm
The
just
the
telling you,
the
I can't fight for a stance that I'm not standing for.
yeah, yeah.
So that, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't matter to me. You
So
know what
so
I'm saying?
now
Because,
I'll provide
but
a
go ahead.
little information to back up
But
why
go
I
ahead.
asked the question. So the laws of Hammurabi predate Christianity by quite a bit, and
Okay.
there is it is reasonable historically to suggest that um, other countries and cultures in the area adopted some of these laws because they worked, they were successful, and
Mm-hmm.
so it would kind of be the same question back at you then is the Bible seems to have borrowed from another set of rules, and uh, that would be the same argument to you because it's
Mm,
not a false equivocation. The what you're asking me and saying that I've used Bible values, well, no, because those values predate the Bible, and the reason that we don't steal has nothing to do with because the Bible says it. That's not my reason for thinking that stealing is morally wrong in any way whatsoever. It has nothing to do with the Bible. I wouldn't want people to steal from me, so I don't steal from other people because we can't just go around stealing from each other because
mm,
it would be chaos and it would be bad. So I think there is a social reason for us to come to the conclusion naturally that stealing is bad.
mm,
Fireman. I wanted to address that as well. Right. I don't get my morality from the Bible at all. None. Right. And yet I would agree with you on aliving people is wrong. I would agree with you that stealing from people is wrong, but I don't get that from the Bible at all.
mm,
As I don't need a Bible to decipher that. That's not like, maybe, I'm not, I only talk for myself, but maybe you need a Bible to tell you that's wrong. I don't know, but I don't.
mm,
So when you talk about sin, right? There are things that are considered sin in the Bible that I would say is perfectly acceptable. So I don't go along with the Bible. It's just there are things I determine to be right and things I determine to be wrong. And I will tell you that I do that on my own. I use my own thought. I don't go to a book to tell me what is right and wrong. So if that can help you understand where maybe some atheists are coming from, I mean, I don't need a book. And there's stuff in the Bible that I would call immoral. Things that God did that I would say is immoral. All right. Now, I don't know how you get around that if you're going to say, well, everything the Bible says is correct. All right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you up front, fireman, I don't go to a Bible at all. I don't go to the Quran and I don't go to books, the Hammurabi Code. All right? I don't go to any of those things. All right. But also, Joe made a great point. The Bible isn't the first morality that was put out there. All right. There was morality in ancient Indian culture. All right, that has nothing to do. They had no belief in a Bible, no belief in the God of the Bible, no belief in Jesus, and yet they did have a morality code that they lived by. And I
Yeah.
don't go by their morality code either, firemen. All right, I'm just saying that the idea that the Bible brought in morality is just false. That's not.
Correlation is not causation.
Yeah, it's just not true.
Yeah, man, I hear y'all, man. I just let y'all get a chance to speak y'all piece. Now,
I think we addressed it.
yeah, yeah, but you got to give me my rebuttal. Everybody think they done ended the conversation. Nah, there's more to
No,
it.
no, no. I want you to speak. Go ahead.
Okay, great. And we're having a great dialogue right now so far. I think it's probably one of the best I ever had. I
Well,
will
thank
say
you.
that much. Everything you said made a lot of sense. But here's where the problem comes in. Let's say we do something, right? You think it's right, and I think it's wrong. So who is right? That's where the problem comes in with your philosophy, sir. And it just doesn't work for society, which is why we have high crime rate and we got to build more prisons. Why? Because mankind will not is not gonna follow that contract that you just spoke. Oh, I agree to steal from you, and you agree. I mean, I agree not to steal from you. You agree not to steal from me. That sounds good on paper, but the problem is that doesn't work in the real world, man. That's the reason why I said, you know,
That's
because
exactly
but
how
see
it
that
works, though.
that thank you. But which is why
Sorry,
it
sorry.
will. No, it's fine. It's fine. Just as long as you don't just keep over talking me. I don't mind a
Yeah,
quick rebuttal.
yeah. No,
Um,
I apologize for interrupting you. Go
no,
ahead.
no, you didn't interrupt me. But I mean, see, that's where the problem comes in with society. And you know what? I always laugh when I hear atheists say this. They'll say, "Oh, you need a God to tell you how to be right and how to be wrong." It's so funny to me. I'll tell you why, sir. For because of what I just said. And I'll say this. Well, guess what? In your society, you need police to tell you what's right and wrong. You need a judge. You need a lawyer. You need to build more prisons in your society. So it's not just one sided on who needs someone to tell them what's right or wrong. In this society, oh, I'm cooking now. I'm cooking now. Thank y'all, man. I'm loving this. I'm loving this right here. Fireman is cooking. In
Hmm.
this society, we need policemen and all of those to tell us what's right or wrong. And what happens if we don't follow that law? Do we just walk around and do what we want to do in this society? No. So the same way you say, "Oh, you need a sky daddy to tell you what's right or wrong," I'm telling the atheists, you need policemen, you need cops, you need judges, lawyers, and prison to tell you what's right and wrong. Oh, I'm cooking now today. Woo, let's go.
Brother, you are not cooking. You haven't presented a single shred of evidence for a single thing that you've asserted so far. You're just making claims without a single thing that you've adduced to back up any of the claims you've made. So, how about you start with one claim, right? And then provide some evidence for that.
And by the way, you say that other religions say the same thing. Well, it still means one of them is right and you're still wrong. If they
Pivot.
push,
So a pivot. That's what we're
if
doing. We're
they
just
push
going to
the
not
same
address
laws
my
as the
point.
Bible, if those other books push the same laws in as the Bible does, then that will make those books accurate too. For example, the Quran says a lot of things that the Bible says. I get what you're saying. The Quran may say, "Hey, it's not right to steal. It's not
You
right to
haven't
do these
said
things."
anything. How you get what
But
we
now I
said?
will say this. This is the bombshell on you that you probably didn't know that I knew about. What I'm saying is, you ever heard of nihilism before?
I have.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is nihilism makes just more sense to me because nihilists believe what I'm telling atheists is you still believe in something. You still believe in something. You believe in right and wrong. Well, I don't know why it sounds like it's cracking up. What y'all getting from y'all end? Sound like my is chopping up. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. It stopped. Oh, there you go. It stopped.
Are you
But
playing the
yeah,
video at the same time?
no. Well, I'm on my phone. That's it, and I'm able to see y'all while I'm
Yeah.
talking.
You got to
But
turn the volume down on wherever the video's playing from.
let me go on to speaker. I mean, regular phone. Maybe can I? I don't know.
You just either need to turn down or close wherever the video's playing, other than the EVMux website. You've got
Right.
it's playing in the background. That's why it's echoing like that.
Yeah.
It sounds
Can
like
you
it's
still
fine
hear me?
now, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
yeah,
good.
but I was saying that,
You were
and I'll
babbling.
say as far as I know that. Now I'm not babbling, sir. I'm speaking clear
You
English.
really are, because you haven't addressed a single thing that I
No,
brought
I
up
said
yet.
that,
You're
sir,
just
that
preaching.
nihilists don't believe that anything matters. They don't
You
believe in
weren't
a good or
talking about
bad,
nihilism
right
yet.
or
You're
yeah.
just
No,
going from point to
that's
point,
what
point to point,
that's what
and
the
you're
end
being
result is,
incoherent.
sir. That's not incoherent. I'm exposing the
You
hypocrisy.
can't even say the word
The
incoherent
nihilists don't
coherently
believe
with
in
your dumb ass.
anything.
Listen to you.
Incoherently, sir. Incoherently, sir. Incoherently, sir.
You're crashing
Please
out.
stop the
You're
nonsense, sir.
crashing out.
All right,
Why are you crashing
Man,
out, bro?
so let me say something here,
oh my
Bob
God,
man.
bro. Now we was having a good conversation until this guy came into the room. I'll be honest, man.
Still crashing out.
Uh,
We was
so
having
so
a great conversation, man.
well, let me we'll get back
No,
on
you
track.
were babbling.
Yeah.
Not really a conversation.
so
Oh, now
so
I'm babbling, sir. I guarantee you, I
You were
can
babbling.
spell better than you and write better than you.
I guarantee you can't. But that's
I'm a
irrelevant
million.
because that's not
I'm
the point of the
100 times
discussion.
more intelligent than you, sir.
We're
So
talking about
don't
your
come on here trying
inability
to
to
throw little
produce
slick
any
shade
evidence
and
for
little
your
slick jokes, man.
non-existing God.
Come on, man. We was having a decent
You've yet
conversation
to
until this
address
guy
any
came
of
on.
my points.
I said that
Can't do it.
atheists still believe in something, which is good and bad, right or wrong. Nihilist is what you would want to be because they don't believe in good or bad or right or wrong. And I'm telling you, the nihilist is right. There is no good or bad or right or wrong at that point. There is no sin. There is no good or bad, right or wrong or evil. There's none of that. Just like the animal kingdom, right? Just
your
like in the
argument
animal
depends
kingdom,
on it, though.
there
You're just babbling.
there's no right or wrong. No, I'm showing you the hypocrisy because you still hold on
Okay,
to
do you
Christian
want to? Do you
values,
want me to
and
address that? Do you
you're
want me
saying
to
it's
address
not.
your claim that there is no right or
You're
wrong? Do you want me to address that?
you're
The
saying
hypocrisy you showed is in
you're
the Christian belief, though, not
you're
the
saying
No,
that,
atheist.
it's not.
is that doesn't just come from the Bible. You're saying, oh, these come from other ancient texts also. That's what his argument. Oh, it comes from other
No,
ancient texts,
no, no.
but
You
you're still
said that
upholding the Christian
if you and
values.
I disagreed on the morality of a particular question, and that because I'm an atheist, that I have nothing to fall back on for that, but that the Christian does. So, first of all, I don't. Uh, I don't view the world through that lens, so no. But second, let me ask you a question. So, if God is the objective moral giver in that case, then the question of like is killing people wrong, or murder, is it wrong? And I would say, uh, God does clearly say, don't kill people, right? But then God
Yeah,
orders them to go kill everybody around them. So don't kill people unless I tell you to in this one certain situation. So that's not objective, all right? That's a subjective thing. It applies here and not there, and it depends on the people and these other things. What you're saying is very much a subjective thing. So my question back to you would be, if it is a subjective thing and you disagree with me and you think something's bad and I think it's good, why do you think it's bad? Why is that the right position to have? And what mechanism did you use to arrive at that position?
right.
That would be my response to your claims. Real
Very
quick before you go on, though, hold on. Let me read the super chat because I'll forget.
mhm.
70% of people in federal prison are religious. Seems like God is less effective than relief in a cop. Quit crashing out. View some data. A $5 super chat from Jester. Thank you, Jester, so much. I appreciate it.
Facts, Jester.
Hey, fireman,
Yeah,
you still there?
yeah. I'm still here.
Okay. Let me give you my perspective on some of this stuff that you're talking about.
Hmm.
Okay. First, you talked about getting morality from a cop. I
No,
don't.
no. I said I'm talking about getting laws from the justice system within our society, which
Okay.
policemen enforce, sir. That's what I'm talking
Okay.
about.
So let me explain something about my own morality. All right. There's two things about morality that I see. Number one is my own personal morality. It's what I think is right and what is wrong. Okay. And that
Right,
forms my personal morality. The second part of it is societal or cultural. All right. And there is laws in our country and in other countries that are set by people who are running that country. In our country, it would be by legislative initiatives, and these are laws of the land. So there's two things. I have the laws of the land, which is for all people who live in this country, as an example, in America. And then there's my own personal morality. Neither one of those things has a darn thing to do with God. Nothing. And I'm fine with that. Why do you need an authority figure to tell you what is right and wrong? I don't get it.
I don't, and I don't get why you want to be a so-called goody two shoes and a good person. See, here's my logic. At least,
You
at
didn't
least,
answer the
no, no, hold
question.
on.
Like,
Let me
what is
finish. Let me finish, man. Let me finish. At least the Christian believes that there's a reward for their good behavior. Correct. But
so?
I'm saying that the atheist, yes, the Christian believe that if they have good behavior, God will reward them definitely with the kingdom of heaven. So yes.
We know what
So
y'all believe.
so now I'm saying that the atheist is there's no reward for being good. So why are you being good? And what I'm saying is and what I'm saying is that the nihilists say I've done my research, and maybe the
Doesn't
Satanists
sound
and the
like you
nihilists,
have.
they don't. Well, I know about Satanists and nihilists, so I must have. I know about other beliefs outside of my own, sir. So
Do
those
you
two
know
Stick to
that
your own because you're
atheism
straw
is
manning
not
these other
who don't
beliefs.
wrong?
believe and still trying to be a so-called goody two shoes and a good person. Why? Because what's the reward? Who cares, right?
Why do
Oh,
you
But
need a
man.
reward
That's
to
the
be
reason
a
why what
decent
you're
person?
saying, what you're
Your
saying
morality is
is is is
flawed.
is,
You
is
need a
nonsense.
reward system in order to
Why?
be a decent person, in order to
Why?
treat
Okay,
your
I'll
fellow
give you an
man like a
example.
human
Right?
being.
I
All
That's
see
right.
fit.
ridiculous. I
So,
don't
I
need
see.
a reward to treat other people fairly or nicely.
Yeah.
But you
Well, then
clearly
what
do,
I'm
which
saying
means your morality is
what's the
depraved.
purpose? What's the reason for you being a goody two shoes?
so,
Because you
so,
think you're a
Because I
good
want to
person?
live in a society full of other
Because you
people
think
who
you
behave the way
because
I
you
do. The
think
yeah.
you're a
same
good
way that your
person?
fucking Jesus taught to treat your neighbor the way you would want to be treated. That's the kind of
Yeah,
society that I want to
exactly.
live in.
And that's what I'm
So
telling you,
I
right?
live that way.
And
But I
you're
don't need
upholding
Jesus
Christian
to tell me
values. That's
to
my
do it.
point. Thank you, sir. Thank you for
it
proving my point once
predates
again.
Christianity,
You
though.
are upholding
Christianity
Christian
stole it from
values.
somebody
And that's what
else.
I've been telling the atheists. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
I
sir.
haven't proven any
Thank you.
point
You
other
just
than
said it out
you're
your
a
own
hypocrite
mouth
to
that you
your
hold up
own
the same
theology.
values as the
You
Bible. Thank you.
you're
You're doing
claiming
this.
that these things
You don't even
originate in
you don't even know that you're being cooked right now. Like you
you're
haven't even
you're
Nah,
proven
nah,
your
I'm not
point.
being cooked. You just stuck your
you're
I'm
own
just
foot in
claiming
your
that
mouth.
these things
it.
originate in
The only reason
Christianity,
I
and so
do
that
it
if
is
we
because I
share any
believe in a society
values,
where
I
other
got
people
him in
do
his
it
feelings
for
now.
allegedly the same reason Christians are supposed to, but apparently you only do it for a reward. I don't need a reward.
Oh,
I
only
do it
do
for
it
the
for a
reward of
reward,
simply
huh?
living in a
Oh,
society where we
only
don't
for
treat
a
each other like
reward.
barbarians.
so
Amazing.
so look, fireman. Here's the thing.
Let me
So
ask you
like,
something, sir. Let me ask you something, sir. Let me ask that guy something.
You
What do
haven't
you get up?
addressed any
What
of my
do
points,
you
so
do? You
you
do,
can't ask me anything.
sir? Do you have
Nope.
a job,
Nope.
sir? Sir, do you have a job?
You haven't addressed any of my points. I'm not
No,
answering
sir. I'm
any of
asking you a
yours
simple
until
question,
you
sir.
address any of
Okay,
mine.
no. You made an assertion, so now I got to ask you, see what kind of common sense you have.
Yeah, and you
You
made
said
plenty of them that
you
I
said
asked you
only
to
for a
back up
reward,
with some sort
like
of
it's something
evidence or
small.
logical
you
argument.
you came in here
You didn't
hollering
do that.
hypocrisy and
So there's no sense in you
won't even
Yes, it is
answering
respond.
your
hypocrisy
questions about
because
irrelevant
you're
topics that
upholding
where do I
Christian
work
values.
or
You
if I
believe
have
in
any.
sin. The guy right
Irrelevant.
there, he just admitted it out of his own mouth. I got it recorded. Thank you, whoever said that he's upholding Christian values in the Bible. He said Jesus said, "Be nice to your neighbor," and that's what he does. So he's upholding Christian values.
Yes,
Thank
but
you.
that
That's been my
idea
whole
didn't
point the
originate
whole
in the
time.
Bible,
That you're
sir.
But I
upholding
didn't say
Christian
I did
values
it
down to
because
a
it was
T.
in the
Thank you,
Bible.
sir.
You're
Thank
conflating
Yes.
you.
my point. You're making a
Yes.
straw man.
Just
No,
because
I'm
we
not.
share some moral value with the Bible shares it with things that predate it.
Mm, mm,
So
mm,
the same question applies back at you every time you do this. Every time you say one of these things, well, you're taking this from the Bible. The Bible took it from somewhere else, and we know it. We can track it through history. So the same question applies to
I'm
you. You came in here hollering that
right.
you were going to expose hypocrisy, and so far you've been the hypocrite.
Okay.
You haven't
Okay.
answered
Let me
to a
ask you this.
single point we've made. You just move on to the next argument. You
Okay.
don't respond to any
Well,
of
what
it.
you mean?
And
My argument is the same. It doesn't matter what I'm saying. It still comes back to the same point, sir.
Hey,
you
fireman.
haven't made a point though.
Okay.
You've claimed things out of thin air
All
that
right.
we have told you didn't originate in the Bible,
Now,
and you can check that for yourself.
now
Fireman.
I can tell you what you're gonna do before you do it. You're gonna run to society, and I'm about to ask you. All right. Let's say I come by your house, right? You got $50 on the table, and nobody's around. Such you got your back turned. You went to another room. I take the $50 off the table. It's mine now. I I take it. I don't get caught. You would say that's wrong, I would believe, right? But my ultimate question is, why does it matter if I never get caught? Who cares? And why would it matter if I never get caught? Explain that.
So first of all, that has nothing to do with whether I'm an atheist or not. But I will answer
But
your question.
yes.
Um, so if it happens that I am correct in not believing a God exists, if it happens that that's true, and that the
Mhm.
only time we have is the time we have here, then if I view the world through like a humanist perspective, my absolute goal would be to leave the world a better place for
Mm,
those after me, especially like in my case, my children. I would say if
mhm.
my children can look back and say I tried and whatever, that's the legacy that I pass on. But if all I have is the time here, then that is the most important thing to me, not because of some reward in the afterlife or something the Bible says. The fact that I may share some moral value with the Bible does not mean that it originated from the Bible. Everybody has different moral codes, and those moral codes can include things from all kinds of places, and they in fact do. And just because they share that doesn't mean that it was stolen from it, or that I rely on the morals of the Bible, which we have. I've gave you examples that predate the Bible. So it would be the problem of, if you're going to make that argument, then you first need to cover of why the Bible did the thing you're talking about. You say hypocrisy, and then that is literally a hypocrisy argument. Like,
Okay. Now for a second, let's put the Bible to the side and all beliefs. And I'll ask the question again. Don't
sure.
worry about what the Bible say. Don't worry about none of that. I'll ask you
Yeah.
this: if I come by your house and like I said, I take $50 from you, your back is turned, you don't know about it, I get away with it scot free. I will presume that you will say that it was wrong, correct?
Yes.
Now, which gets me to my next question. Now, forget whether it was right or wrong. If I never get caught, why does it matter and who would care? Like what after that point, what would be the consequence or punishment for it?
You harmed someone. So
Hmm?
so whether you're punished for it or not, it doesn't change whether it's moral or not. It has nothing to do with it. What you
Hmm.
did caused harm to another human being and would fall very, very nicely into the secular humanism worldview or the secular humanism philosophy manifesto. I don't know what word you would use there, but it would fall under secular humanism as well. So that is a perfectly good basis for that position without saying anything about religion.
Fireman, fireman, I
Yeah, I'm
got to
listening.
ask you, do you
Yeah.
recognize that nihilism just is not anything to do with atheism? Do you understand they're not the same thing at all?
Yes, yes, I do, and I think that maybe we had a misunderstanding somewhere. If you believe that's my angle, we had to have a big misunderstanding. If you believe that I think that nihilism is atheism, I'll tell you what I do think it is. I think that it's a step after atheism. It's the only logical step, and that's the reason why I said put the Bible to the side. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, let's look at the animal kingdom, right? In the animal kingdom, and atheists would say that we're animals. This is why I tie this into my argument. In the animal kingdom, sir, is there right or wrong, good or bad? I'm not talking about no social hierarchy. I'm talking about punishment for things that are done. Is there any right or wrong, good or bad inherently in the jungle? Be honest, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a
What?
natural right
Some
and
people say this. This is insane. What?
yeah,
But
there's
there's
a
a
natural
here,
right and wrong, right?
here's
And
ultimate.
that depends. It's not put out in a book. It's natural. There's a
All right.
natural right and
Here
wrong, even
here's
in
the
the
reason.
even in the jungle.
All right. Well, here's why. Now I'm gonna have to ask the question specifically. Because that's a little too vague.
Please
If a
do.
lion, all right, if a lion attacks a deer and kills him, is that right or wrong?
Neither.
I wouldn't say it's wrong.
Neither. It's not a moral question.
Exactly. I agree with you. It's neither. It is what it is. It's not good or bad. It was just reality, and that's just survival. It's just
Well,
what it was.
my
And the,
my
the, the
well,
thing about it is, nobody can come in and say, hey, Mr. Lion, that was wrong, or give him jail time like humans do. Give him a ticket, give him a fine, tell him to come to court. Nobody can enforce anything because there is no right or wrong in the
I mean
jungle.
they could. They don't because it's
Ye-
silly.
Yeah, yeah, they could. But what I'm saying is that ultimately there's no right or wrong, good or bad
No,
within the
see, you're
jungle.
wrong, because within so this has to do with the intelligence and capabilities of the species you're talking about. They have to be capable of things like empathy. The
True.
For example, in chimpanzees,
Hmm.
they will attack each other just for just they'll gang up on each other and attack each other. They will
Right,
R word each other. Even the males, when they dominate another male, will sometimes R word that other male
right,
because and those things, because they are intelligent and they are capable of deciphering right from wrong. They chose to do wrong. That's where it comes a moral question. The question with the lion isn't, because there's no decision process there. The lion didn't know it was wrong to do those things and then go do it. The lion did what lions do. Uh,
right, right.
and you could even make the argument of the bigger picture
Mm.
that the lion that takes down another lion or elk or whatever is actually helping to progress nature and could be an overall
Right.
good thing. You could actually argue that. I
Yeah.
wouldn't sit and make that argument because it's kind of
And
Uh,
I would say
You know,
that there,
I would argue it, even myself, because I believe that that is the cycle of life, and it's the food chain, is what keeps
sure.
the society, the world going. Even
Yeah, yeah. See, you
scientists
could
would tell
get
you that.
there. I mean, and
So I
that's why
would even
morals are subjective. You get it?
yeah,
Like
and
you
exactly,
just
yeah.
demonstrated subjective morality.
But
firemen,
see,
there's if you have a
but
group of animals, all right, within that species, let's say dogs, if you have a pack of dogs, they appear to establish some sense of their own morality.
you
Seems like
talking about social hierarchy. But go ahead.
yes, that's what I'm talking
It's a
about. So
it's a
yes, it is subjective, but
No,
I'm
that's
saying
that's a social construct amongst those animals. Let's say
yeah,
like one dog might agree that another dog is the leader of the pack, right? Which is done amongst wolves, I believe. That's what I would actually call social construct. But what I'm saying, ultimately, there's no hierarchy with them. Definitely against another animal. Even if you want to say it's a construct amongst them, that construct is not with the wolf and the rabbit. It's not with the wolf and the dog.
no,
You know,
I
it's just
agree.
amongst them.
I agree with that, but
Thank you. Thank
that's what I meant when I said there is a natural right and wrong,
you. Right.
because even amongst dogs, if you have 100 dogs in your backyard,
Right.
they still seem to enforce some sort of morality amongst them. It's not human morality. It's
Yeah,
not what we would determine, but there is some sort of right and wrong. It appears when we observe them.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
Man, but
based on what's best for dogs. Just like the morality that we have, in spite of what the Bible says, is not because of what the Bible says. It's because it's what's best for societies and people.
yeah. And
Um,
see,
at one point, Christians in the United States used the Bible to argue for slavery in the antebellum South, and then later Christians were some made up a huge part of the abolitionists that used the Bible to say that slavery was wrong and we shouldn't do it. So that little thing right there, well, it's a big thing actually, but that thing right there shows
right.
you that that we advance our moral view of the world based on the experiences and the events that happen, and then we refine that based on that experience, and that's why we decided owning people was wrong and we don't do it anymore. And it's not because of what the Bible says, even though they use the
Right.
Bible to suggest it. It's in spite of what the Bible says.
All right. See, here's the thing. You keep saying, in spite of what the Bible says, and I'm saying, even for now, we can put that to the side because it's not so much at this point. It's not so much what the Bible says. It's the fact that at the end of after that point, like the nihilists would agree, nothing matters. There is see you went back to the word subjective, like I said before, and I absolutely hate that word, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
Because all it really means to me is after it's subjective, it doesn't matter at all. Because it's all
That's not
subjective.
true.
No,
Listen to me, sir. All subjective means is an opinionated base. That's opinion based. Subjective. So at that point, it goes out the window. Why? Because I could be one place and step across the street and it's okay to do it. I can step across the street and it's not right to do something. I can step across the street and it's okay to do it. So
Mhm.
at that point, I would say it's madness and I just throw it out the window altogether, sir. That's what you got to understand that I'm saying.
So
So I believe it's subjective, but I'm only going a step further.
you
If
agree.
atheists, if hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. If what atheists are saying is true, I'm only going a step further with nihilism and saying, hey, you know what? Nothing matters. It's not necessarily because I'm saying since there's no God, but just ultimately, altogether, it doesn't matter. If I come here and die and turn into dust and that's it, what I did don't matter because I'm going to become nothing anyway. You talk about society, then why do we have so much crime, sir? That's the reason why your that theory about society that you atheists make always falls through the cracks. Because if that was true, we wouldn't have crime, have to build jailhouses, have police uh, patrolling. Why? Because everybody is not agreeing to that society contract that you're talking about. At least the dogs do.
it's
At
a
least the dogs,
self-defeating
even
argument.
the dog, even the dogs agree to the social society contract. since you want to bring that up, even they seem to agree to it more than humans do. So
Fireman,
it, it's
fireman,
not even being followed, sir.
fireman.
You're
You
you're
talked
making a self
about
defeating argument. You're
you talked
demonstrating the very thing that you're arguing against.
and fireman. You talked about you understand the difference between atheism and nihilism, but you seem to
Can you
run to
gentlemen hear me?
nihilism quite often. It's like
Yeah.
I'm not a
The
nihilist, so
the
I'm
reason
not
why
going to
I'm talking
defend
about it,
nihilism.
I'm explaining to you the reason why I bring it up is because I think it's the step after atheism. I'll give you two in a nutshell. I'll tell you
I'm
what
not a
atheists believe and what
nihilist, and
nihilists
I've been an
believe.
atheist for
Atheists,
12 years.
atheists say there is no God. I'll break it down to you the reason why. Atheists say they don't believe in lack because of lack of belief, a lack of evidence. They don't believe in God. Correct?
Atheists don't
Atheists
Correct?
believe
don't
God
believe in
exists,
God,
right?
And I
correct?
just want to make sure I'm making the right assessment of what an atheist believes. Or you
Well,
can tell me, sir.
so atheists don't believe that God exists, but depending on which
Okay.
atheist you're talking about, because it's an individual thing, right?
Right.
My position that I said earlier was is that I don't believe a God exists, but I don't think I can even have a choice in that matter. I haven't seen anything that sufficiently convinces me that a God exists, so I don't believe
Right.
that one does. If I
Right.
was shown something that sufficiently
Right.
showed me that a God exists, I would believe it.
Which is reasonable. And guess what? I'm not mad at the atheist for that question because I think that shows you I'm a logical person, whether you believe it or not. Because I believe it's a great question. You're right. You say because of lack of evidence, you don't see anything to show you that.
I
But
don't even
now,
see any reason to though. Not
right
even just
now,
lack of evidence. I don't see any
okay.
justifiable reason to even
Now
suggest
here's the
God.
thing. Here's the thing. Now here's where the axe meets the road. Guess what, sir? I don't believe it's any reasonable reason to follow right or wrong, good or bad, and whatever else at that point. You
Then
see
why
what I'm
did you
saying?
use it to argue for the Bible when we started?
Well, I'm saying after all right, we just come here, we die. I'm saying what's the all right, if I die tomorrow or next week, I might as well would have did what I wanted to do. That's how I look at life. What I had to lose if I wanted to take a mask, go out, commit crimes, do all kind of stuff. Why not? Why not go out and fulfill my lust? And this is the reason why I bring out nihilists because nihilist is one of the religions. I haven't studied the other beliefs. I'll say belief. Some say it is not a religion, but that I've studied that says, hey, nothing matters. Hey man, if I go out and do this, that
We're not
nothing matters.
nihilists.
There's no good or bad, right or wrong. But what I'm saying is that's the difference between nihilists and atheists. The nihilist, of course, doesn't believe in God also, but they're going a step further and saying, hey, nothing matters. But what I'm saying, the atheist is saying, hey, there's no God. We don't believe it for lack of evidence. But we still believe that this matters, that matters, things matter, morals matter. Oh, it's better for society and all of that mumbo jumbo. And what I'm telling you is that's the reason why I brought up nihilism and that's basically what I believe in a nutshell. Now
So
go ahead.
so real quick before because I'm going to let objective ethics jump in here, but real
Okay.
quick before that, um, if uh if you would like, fireman, I know that this is kind of a, we've got multiple people talking to you and stuff, and I appreciate that you even
Thank
came in here in a room full of atheists to make these arguments. So
thank you, sir.
but if you would like, email me the Kentucky Atheist at Gmail, and I will
Right.
set up a time for just you and I to talk to where we can go through the conversation and you can get my position on it, because I don't
Right.
want to speak for other people,
Right.
and I also want to let these other people speak too. So
Mhm.
if you shoot me an email, though, I'll schedule it and we can sit down and talk. You can call it a debate or whatever you want, but like we'll sit down and have a really in-depth conversation about some of these things that
Sure, sir.
I can't get into right now. But with
I,
that, objective ethics. Hey, how are you?
He's
well,
offline right now.
Oh, is he offline?
Yeah,
My
let
bad.
me, Fireman. I'm going to say one last thing
hey,
for you
can
to.
y'all hear me? I'm offline. You said?
No,
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 no.
you're fine.
Objective
Oh,
ethics.
you talking about somebody else? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I'm going to say one last thing for you just to think about. Okay. I I told you when you asked, and I told you my morality is not based on the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
at all right? And I told you that there's two different aspects to morality. One would be my personal understanding of right and wrong, and the other would be a societal look at right and wrong. All right. And I'm going to tell you right now my standard of what I consider right and wrong. And that for me, and again, I speak for myself because I'm not under the authority of anybody. All right. But I think that what helps people and is good for people is moral, and what hurts people is immoral. Now that I told you that, how do you determine what is right and wrong?
Well, that's the reason why sir, I would have to ultimately say that there is a right or wrong, good or bad, because we won't be able to come to an agreement on what's right or wrong. And and
I
in
didn't
some
ask you if
cases,
we had agreement. I asked you, how do you determine what is right and wrong?
oh, how do I determine what's
Yeah,
right and
I
wrong?
told you how
I,
I do it, and it has nothing to do with a God. So now I'm asking
right.
you, how do you personally
What
determine what is
me
right?
personally, far as what I believe. Okay. I determine for what I believe is right or wrong from the Ten Commandments. That tells me what's right and wrong as far as how I should be a righteous man. And that's what I believe, sir. Because I
Is
believe because I do believe the King James Version Bible, if I never broke down my exact beliefs.
are
But
there any exceptions to the
discuss
Ten Commandments?
I still discuss other beliefs also. Like as you can see, I'm still discussing nihilism, which is something out of my belief. And I talked about Satanism also. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Is there any exceptions to the Ten Commandments?
What you mean exception?
Well, you
Be a
said
little bit
that
more.
you ground your morality in the Ten Commandments, and I'm asking
No,
you
but pretty much, man.
if there's
Here,
times that the Ten Commandments don't hold
here's two things.
true.
I won't do to you. There are things that I won't do to you, and I think you should be glad that I won't do it. Rather, no matter how I came to the conclusion. If I don't rob you and take your stuff, hey man, I mean I think you would be grateful of that. No matter how I came to that
Sure,
conclusion. Would
that's
you
the
agree?
point.
Hold
That's
on,
the
hold on.
point.
No, listen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe we're making the same point. See, sometimes people want to argue for no reason. Um, uh, so if I take something from you, maybe we will both agree that that's wrong.
So
So
if God ordered people to go kill people and steal their
no,
things, that would be wrong, right?
yeah, you talked about the benefits for society, right? Yeah, you talked
Well,
about that early. The
well,
benefits. So I'm showing you some of the benefits. If I
sure,
decide
and
not to rob
I
and
don't
steal,
disagree that there's benefits.
yeah, there you go. So ultimately,
That
it's
doesn't make it
still a good
true.
thing. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. Just because you've been a good boy for Christmas doesn't make Santa Claus real. I agree with you.
No, yeah,
Hey,
and I would
Simon,
say take that same thinking and apply it to yours. Just because you believe a God exists and that you're living by His rules doesn't mean that it's real.
and
True.
fireman,
From your perspective, I can see that.
Jesus gave an out on the Ten Commandments. You know that,
Hmm.
right? When
Yeah,
he
he did.
Okay, so if we just go by the Ten Commandments,
You're
because
right.
we
See,
know that Jesus talked about
man.
on the Sabbath.
Yeah, look at that. I can't disagree with you. You
Okay,
are right.
so therefore, Jesus himself didn't literally say everything in the Ten Commandments is perfect.
Mm, man. Yeah, because see, here's the thing. One of the gentlemen brought that up earlier. He talked about how the jails are filled with Bible believers and Christians and all that. That's why I would have to agree with you, whether you thought I was about to disagree with you or not. That's why a lot of them are locked up because it's impossible to keep those commandments. Really, to be honest with you, it's something you strive for, but nobody can do it. Which nobody in the atheist community is perfect. Would you say even to your standards? Would you agree?
I'm not trying to be perfect. I mean,
So
Right,
it's
right,
like not even something I talk about or think about
right.
being perfect. So I don't
so
True,
like
true.
it doesn't even impact me. I'm not
So
attempting to be perfect.
So
Yeah.
let's
So
talk
what
about
you're
your
saying
theology,
only
though.
shows that mankind falls short of the glory, like the scripture says. It says that mankind falls short. You can't find a perfect man
So,
within Christianity, within atheism, within nihilism, within Islam, within any group. You can't find that perfect man. So therefore, I would have to agree with that.
Okay, objective ethics is back.
Okay,
Hey, I'm
great.
sorry about the trouble before, you guys, and I'm sorry about shocking everybody with my crazy hair. I'm actually trimming my hair,
close,
getting ready to get in the shower.
We can't even
close the
see you.
stream or something. You got an
Okay.
echo.
Well, I can't see you.
Can you guys? No, I turned off
I
my
can hear you
camera to
though.
see if that would clear things up a little bit. I know my hair is scaring some people in the chat.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You've got an echo on your audio, but uh, it's not real bad.
Okay, I'm not sure where that's coming from. I was on a StreamYard earlier today. It was fine, but
It
either way,
cleared
let me
up.
know if it
It
gets to
cleared
be
up.
too bad. I don't know. Oh, perfect. Okay. So let me just address the gentleman and fireman. I do really appreciate how you came in here. Very polite, very civil. And I know that
Thank you.
Joe and
Thank
Lou are both very polite gentlemen, and they
you. Right,
open up
right,
this kind of conversation. So it kind of took a
right.
little bit of a turn there, but I understand that one gentleman's frustration too, because there is a double standard that's in play here. But that's not what I came to talk about real quick. What I just wanted to
Uh-huh.
mention to you is that there is a difference between ethics and morality. And I think we need to address that really quickly, because ethics is this meta, the objective standard that we're all kind of looking at. And I believe it's tied to evolution, because I do believe in objective ethics, but that's not necessary for
Mm-hmm.
the conversation. Whether you think it's objective or not is completely irrelevant. The
Mm-hmm.
question is the subjective part about this that we're all looking for a reason to address. How do we subjectively approach life? That's the
Right.
normative thing that we call morality. Morality is
Mm-hmm.
specifically tied to actions, right? So
Mm-hmm.
through evolution, based on the things you guys were talking about, we can tie
Mm-hmm.
our decisions to the propagation of our species. We know that we're a social animal. We know that there's such a thing as social evolution. Whether you believe in biological evolution is irrelevant. Socially, we develop societies and we work within these societies. Because we are able to look back in history, we can look back
Mm-hmm.
at terrible things that have been done in history, like slavery and subjugation of women, and subjugation or bigotry against the LGBT community. So we can look at things that have happened in history, and we can subjectively say, let's get together and let's look at the results of what those decisions produced, and let's make a change looking for a better future. And like Joe
Mm-hmm.
said, that this is tied to the future, which we look at through our children. Even people like myself, my wife and I don't have children, but I've got nieces and nephews that I love to death. I got my neighbors' kids that I love to death, and those kids are going to grow up and have kids. So we're all tied to the future biologically. That's the standard. That's the reward that you were asking about. We don't need to have a reward in heaven. Our reward is propagation of the species, and this is ingrained in every single one of us.
Now, I'll tell you where that theory falls flat. The problem is that mankind hasn't taken the information from back then and gathered it now to become a better society. Actually, sir, it's getting worse. If everything was true, what you're saying, why do we have more mass shootings every week? If everything is true, what you're saying, why is a rapper getting killed every week? If
What
what you're
about it?
saying is
No,
true,
that's
why is it more greed? Why are there more wars? If what you're saying is true, we should have eradicated wars. We should have eradicated
no, no,
poverty. We should have eradicated the
no,
ills of
brother,
society. If mankind
no,
mankind ain't
brother,
figured out a damn thing, things are only getting worse, sir.
no,
That's
brother.
false.
That's completely wrong. That's
Why did
completely
Charlie
false.
Kirk
There's
get
not more.
assassinated? Why did Charlie Kirk get
He's certainly
assassinated?
things are happening, but you look, there's been a global abolition of slavery. Okay, more women have rights to vote, more rights in more progressive countries than they ever had in the past. So we are making positive changes.
Mm,
There are laws on the books that prevent not only local crimes, but we have international laws now that we're working with other countries to build laws. So just to say that everything hasn't been fixed overnight isn't fair to say that we're not making progress. We're not having, and they're certainly not having more wars. If you look at history and look at the amount of wars and conflicts that were happening compared to now, there's way less war right now than there ever has been. We're
No,
much
we
less.
should have got rid of
Um,
it. Shouldn't be no war. Should be
Slavery
no war.
no, no,
is
that's
not a thing anymore. I mean,
Should be mankind. We should have figured out a way to get along and live peacefully if everything that you're saying is true. But that's just not the case,
so
sir.
no, that's
What
not
about a
true.
mass
that's
That's
not
shooting?
true.
that's not true.
What
Sociology
about
will
a
always
mass
That's
say
not
that's
shooting?
true.
not true.
About a
So
mass shooting? And in that situation, it only got worse as time progressed. If you look back at time, it wasn't always at the pace it was. It started off in like '99 with Columbine. See, I remember the history of it. Then it only progressed to the point where it is now, sir. So if mankind has figured out how to make things better, why is it a mass shoot every week? Innocent people getting slaughtered in the streets, sir.
It's
Uh
happening
oh.
because man is not perfect. Because subjectively, man is still making decisions. Man's still involved in the process, but it's not happening more. That's just ignoring history. There was more genocide. It's throughout the Bible. If you want to go to a religious text to prove it, but you could look at
Well, sir,
historically,
I'm talking
genocide
about
was a
within our
common
lifetime. I'll
practice.
be honest with
hey,
you.
hey,
This,
fireman,
this,
let
listen,
me just completely destroy what you said real quick.
I just wanted to
Um,
say, sir, this particular argument is not for the Bible days. It's for our time, which would go back
yeah,
to like
yeah,
the
no,
60s
no,
and 50s. Right. Thank
I
you. But
agree.
go ahead.
I
Thank you.
agree.
Thank
So, first of all, um, there are many things that humans have advanced morally on, but second, the thing I want to point out to you is that sociology there's a huge part of sociology that's about exploring deviant people and deviant behavior, and that social groups will contain people that are deviant and that behave badly. So whether morality has advanced or not, and whether there are deviant people doing awful things are two totally different things. Um,
you. Right.
and as far as people killing people in the street, 99% of those crimes are committed by evangelical Christians.
Mm,
So I don't.
mm.
Most crimes against kids are evangelical Christians. So if the argument is that um, because of the way we see it, there
I don't know
shouldn't
if
be
that's
any
true,
of
but
these
I'll let
things,
you make it with
what
that.
you argue for making it worse is demonstrably evangelical Christians and religion. The war, most of the war and killing going on in the world is because of differences in religious belief, not
Mm.
because of lack of morality. It's because of their religious beliefs. That's what the fighting in the Middle East is going on. I understand there's other things at play, but the basis of it is that they don't want the other people to exist because of their religion, and so I would say that your argument is kind of silly because the DOJ statistics show that the very thing that you're arguing about is are crimes committed by Christians.
Here's the thing, man. You're halfway right. The only thing that progressed in this society is technology. Technology and science, I can agree with you. You know, we lit fire, we had to ride on horses. Now we have cars to ride in, we have light bulbs, we ride on planes. Yeah, we have progressed technologically, but we have gone backwards morally. If anything, now back in the days, man, it was immorally wrong for a teenage girl, little girl to have a baby, to be pregnant and have a
Yeah.
baby, that was shunned in society. But if you
Do you
fast
know
forward,
that evangelical Christians make up
oh
the
man, boy,
hugest
you go,
part of teen pregnancy and
uh,
repeat teen pregnancy? It's
that's
evangelical
just fine.
Christians.
Right. And I'll have to say this, fella. I'm not a Christian, sir. I'm not an evangelist Christian. So I agree with everything you're saying. Those are fake people. I agree with you. That's not what I am. I have talked with people that try to argue and disagree and say if I believe in the Bible, that means I'm a Christian. But no, it doesn't. Nah,
The
I'm not a
thing I'm
Christian,
pointing
sir.
out is that
So anyway,
the
you
facts,
might be
things
right.
that comport with reality, contradict the very claim that you're making.
Yeah, you might be right
I don't
about
know.
those folks. You might be right about halfway right, but now I have read the news
Fair.
stories, at least on the mass shooting, and I see it's not all evangel. One of the guys, the last one was a trans. The
Well, the
last guy
media's
that
job
did the
has
shooting
become
was
to
a trans.
sensationalize everything, though.
So
So,
I
so
believe
the
this
fact
is
that
all
that
types of
that
people.
doesn't really tell you anything.
So I mean, I don't know. But as far as you saying that they, you said what other claim that you make with the evangelists, evangelistic Christians? You said they did something also.
I
But
told you that evangelical Christians make up the majority of teen pregnancy and repeat
right,
teen pregnancy.
exactly. Exactly. You get no argument with me, even though I think you halfway right. I don't think it's just them. Everybody is out having sex
No, there's
and
other
popping
people
babies and
doing it.
girls.
I'm just saying
Right, right.
DOJ
Everybody
statistics show that the
is not just
majority
them.
of it is white
Right.
evangelical Christians.
Right. Now, but I'm just giving you an example, sir, and showing you where I believe that this world has went backwards morally. Now, back then you would be shunned for having a baby as a teenager. But now as time went on and now nowadays it's a normal thing. Why? Because everything has went bad morally. Back in the 60s, women used to wear dresses, man. They didn't walk around in pants. Everything was in order. Back back in those days, you didn't hear about a rapper killing each other even back in the 80s. You didn't hear about rappers getting killed every week. The violence within hip
You
hop.
absolutely did.
Back
Violence
no
was worse
back
than ever then. What are you
back in the
talking about?
80s, you can't show me one rapper that got killed. Not one. Maybe in the 90s, yeah, but not in the
Have
80s.
you seen Straight Outta Compton? Much
Yeah,
of it
that's from
takes
the
place in the
90s, sir. I
80s.
know
People
history.
get
I
killed.
agree with
Rappers are
you.
killing each other.
The
That
90s,
it's
yes, but
literally
not
was
the
going.
80s.
That's it. The gangs made up huge parts of the posses like Death Row and things like that,
Right,
and they
right.
absolutely were killing each other through the 80s, 90s, and early thousands, and
Well,
still
through the
happens
90s,
sometimes.
but
I would
you
say
could
rapper violence though, like rapper beefs resulting in violence, has went way, way, way down. I mean,
what?
I remember East Coast versus
Wow.
West Coast. There was a lot of violence. That's not happening now.
Man, you must don't know all the stuff that's going on, but that's neither here nor there, man. You must, y'all, all the rappers that they got. I can
You're
name a
saying I'm
thousand
wrong.
rappers that they got killed recently.
I'm
You could
wrong
name
about
one
that.
from the
Well,
'80s.
okay,
But my
Fireman, what you're
point
doing
is
is you're
that
isolating a particular point in history, and what you're doing is you're ignoring what was happening before that. You're talking about teen pregnancies. It was the tradition of the cultures to marry 12-year-old girls
Hmm.
but I'm
2,000
talking
years
about
ago, a
within
thousand
America.
years ago. So
Sir, for the sake of argument,
here's what else they were
I'm
doing.
talking about in
Yeah, but here's
America.
what else they were doing. In marriage in America, women have autonomy. Women have actual equal rights. Back then, when you're talking about, women had no rights. They were subjugated to the will of men. And in fact, the
Absolutely.
last theocracy that we have right now that's based on Christianity is the Vatican City. Women don't have a right to vote there. That's happening right now. So the religion is not providing a solution to this. And if that's really the debate, I don't care what religion you're arguing for, if you're saying that there's some grounding for morality based on this idea that there's a heaven at the end of the road, that completely falls apart when you look at the behavior patterns that Joe and Lou are pointing out to you. The
Mm.
behavior is saying that that motivation apparently isn't enough to keep Christians from doing the same stuff they're saying that secular people are doing.
Yeah. Yeah. If you make that argument, what ends up happening is the statistics and numbers support that it's actually organized religion that is responsible for much of the immoral things you're describing.
Right. And you really get no argument with me there because I believe that majority of those people are not genuine. I don't believe in these mega churches and these pastors. I think they're wicked. I think TD Snakes, Creeplo Dollar, Joe Osteen, all of these mega church pastors, I think that they're wicked too. I think they're preaching the word of God to gain money. So, see, the funny part is you get no argument with me right there. There's hypocrisy on both sides. See, that's
Yeah.
what you don't understand. I believe there's hypocrisy within these fake Christian churches, which
Well,
show
you
that they're
haven't
not real.
shown where
And,
anybody
all I'm
that spoke to
saying
you
is
has
that
been
there's
hypocritical.
hypocrisy. There's hypocrisy within atheism is, and that's the need to hold on to morals and values. When I say, like the nihilist says, there is nothing matters. Ultimately, the belief of the nihilist is nothing. You know how you say not atheists say that the lack of evidence of God is what the atheists believe. The nihilists believe that nothing matters. And all I'm saying is I would tend to sway to that because I would believe that nothing matters. No matter how you try to keep breaking down what's better for society, what's better for this, and we made a social contract. You don't steal from me, and at the end of the day, I showed you that if I steal money from you and I get away with it, you don't find out. It doesn't matter. Would you agree? You said it's not. How is it
No,
hurting? It don't matter.
It
no, I
does
don't
matter.
agree.
You
I don't
caused
agree
harm
with
to
that at
See,
all.
someone.
that's where I believe you
Yeah,
upholding Christian values. I'm
no, I don't
sorry.
agree with what you're saying because, as I've
You're
shown
upholding
you,
the
that you have
same
to have
Christian value and
in order
sense.
for our
This is the
species to
conundrum I
propagate,
have with
you can't. In order for our species to propagate, you cannot let theft go just recklessly
Yeah.
with theft,
If
unaliving people, essaying people. You have to ultimately come to a balance. Otherwise, our
I
species
mean, but
doesn't have a chance. Our societies
and
don't have a chance.
so
Our societies
why
will
would it matter?
collapse.
So
Well,
why would that?
you're straw manning the
Why would
position
that
because
matter?
is it
nobody here is a
immoral to harm
nihilist.
other
Why
people?
would that matter?
Fireman,
Let's
is
say
it
if
immoral to
let's
harm
say
other
if every
people?
human let's say if every human right now just disappeared from the earth, why would it matter?
You wouldn't
Because
have
being
anybody to
alive is
steal from
obviously
then.
better than
So
being
it
dead,
would
or
just
it's a
Oh
mute
man,
conversation. It's a mute
you
listen.
say
point,
what?
fireman. If you're not
Do you,
alive, then it doesn't matter. Why are you even talking about it?
Exactly. Nothing matters. The nihilist is
no,
right.
no. Do
Nothing
you
matters.
think it's immoral to harm other people?
Nothing matters.
Is it you? You're the one that came in arguing for morality. Okay. Is
Yeah.
it immoral to harm other people?
Not ultimately nothing matters.
So there is
I'm
no
just gonna
morals
die and turn
whatsoever.
into dust.
You have completely contradicted everything you've said. You've said that they don't matter, that they do matter. You've went back and
All
forth on
right. Well,
this.
tell me.
Yet you
All
came
right.
in here sideways saying that you were going to show that we were hypocrites.
Okay.
So
You tell me where it matters. All right. You tell me why it matters. Hopefully you explain to me why it would matter. And I know
so
where you're gonna
so
run to society.
objective
What's
ethics
better
hit
for
on this a little
society.
bit.
I know
Listen.
where you're gonna run. That's the reason why I say this is the conundrum with me and atheists. Because
Well,
now we go. Hold on.
then let me do it.
Let me finish making my point, sir. This is the conundrum with me and atheists. Here's where we're going to go into circles because you're going to say that it matters. And I'm going to ask you why. You're going to run to what's better for society. I already know the script, sir. So now you tell
Yes,
me why would it matter?
because I am a humanist. Atheism is not the lens that I view the world for. It's just that I'm not convinced your claim of a god or any claim of a god is true. That's the only thing that atheism means. How I view morality is through a humanist lens, and so I do have a way to ground of why that is wrong and why it does matter, because we are a social species that evolved this way, and harming each other is contradictory to the flourishing of our species to,
That
to,
I
to
agree.
our existence. So, just
It is.
on a very basic level, self-preservation would be an argument to make. But we know that the stealing is is not helpful in building a society. So so
Right.
so we don't do it, and
So what?
so
Yeah,
that
we
stealing
don't do.
does matter because the
Speak for
values that I
yourself.
hold. Hold on. The values that I hold um, are secular humanist values. So to me, it does matter if you do that, and that's why, because it is harmful.
And I noticed you said that that's the reason why we don't do it, which means you meant still. And I was saying, sir, speak for yourself. That's
No,
why we have.
I
If,
am. I'm
if,
not speaking for you.
yeah, because if that's the case, you say it's better for society, and you want to. Well, then why do we have people that steal and do these things, sir? That's where the problem falls in.
So
If it's
that's
just that simple,
sociology that I was trying to explain to you about deviant
yeah, yeah.
behavior.
Explaining
Look look
sociology.
up look up
Yeah.
deviant behavior as it applies to sociology, and you will find exactly why that occurs.
Hmm. I'm gonna tell you why it occurs. For the same reason a lion in the jungle gonna do what he got to do to survive and eat a damn deer. The drug
Evolution?
dealers gonna do what they got to do to survive.
Are you making
The
an
the,
evolution
the
argument?
prostitutes gonna do what they have to do to survive. And it's just simple as that, sir. It's not a hard thing to have to understand. It's not that deep.
Right.
No, what you're
That's
Yeah.
missing out, brother, if I
but
may, what
there's
you're
no
missing out
choice
here
there. There's
is the
no
difference between,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, what you're missing out on here is what's called culpability. Just like
Yeah,
we don't convict a child who accidentally X's his father with a loaded gun because they don't have the understanding. We have something called the mental ability to offer a decent defense for yourself, right? So people can go to the crazy prison or whatever they call that place, the insane asylum, if they're mentally not capable of making good choices because there's something called culpability. The lion does not have culpability in a moral argument. So that's a straw man. The other thing you need to understand is that these meta ethics that I'm talking about here, and what Joe and everybody else is trying to get you to understand, is when we tie this to evolution, what we're tying this to is balance. Evolution, nature has a balance that's intrinsic to it. So the lion will never take more deer than the environment can sustain because then the
Right,
lion will run out of food. The deer won't eat more
right.
plants than the environment can sustain, or the deer will die. So nature
I
has
agree.
this balance already tied into it. So now you have to deal with culpability. We as a highly evolved species have culpability, responsibility to our actions, and that's where the morality comes into play.
Yeah. Let
we
me ask you
have the
this.
ability to assess whether things are right or wrong based on our moral view.
Right.
Uh,
All right. I want to
Lions aren't capable of doing that.
I want to dive a little bit more into that, but now I want to go. I just want to deal with another from another perspective. If an insect steals from another insect, is that right or wrong?
I think we covered this.
Again,
No, because but here's what I want to know. Why isn't that why aren't those morals across the board for all life on earth? Why is it
because
just
of
human?
culpability. That's what objective ethics just explained.
Right.
It all has to do with is that species able to distinguish between
Now
right and wrong and make a choice that is right or wrong. If they are not, then they can't be culpable for their actions.
now let me ask you this. Because I know all atheists believe different things, but from most atheists I've talked to, and I want to see if y'all agree, they would say that humans, they'll just say, hey man, we're just animals. We animals like everything on the earth. We're a species, we're animals, correct? Is that what you
Correct.
believe also?
I
Yes,
do.
it's what's true. It's what comports with
Okay.
reality.
Okay. I just wanted to get that
Yeah,
out the
and
way. Now you
I'm an
say
agnostic, not an atheist, and I agree with them 100%. We are all animals.
okay.
It's biologically true.
Okay, now we're animals. All right, that means that everything on this earth is animals, insects, we species, we animals. Pretty much. I'll just classify it under animals. We
Yeah,
living beings on the earth trying to survive. So now
eukaryotes.
what a confusion for me comes in. Why isn't that if we're all animals, why does when it comes to us now is good and bad, right and wrong, it was better though you have things that are right and wrong, good or bad. Why isn't amongst the insects too? Why isn't it in them
Because we are capable of distinguishing between right and wrong. The
oh
insect has no culpability because it doesn't have the mental capacity in order to distinguish what is right and wrong.
mm,
Damn,
And
that was a good answer.
all it has is natural instincts. That's it. An
all right.
insect has natural instincts.
All right, you say it doesn't have the ability. But let's say if you witness an insect steal a fly or something from another insect or whatever it may be, what would your view would you say is right or wrong or good or bad? That's ultimately the question. Since you're a higher mind.
No. The answer
Exactly.
is still no.
And thank you. Now, even from the higher mind, even though the insect himself can decide if he did something right or wrong, you, the human, being a higher mind, I would think you're saying that no, it still wouldn't be wrong. I wouldn't say, hey, let me get that and give it back to the original fly, or let me right this wrong. It is what it is. It's what happens amongst us
You
insects.
haven't set a foundation
And what
for
I'm saying
objective moral
is
duties to exist.
ultimately,
So
it's the same with humans, whether you agree or not, that it really doesn't matter because ultimately, I believe that humans doesn't have the capacity to figure it out.
that
Because if we could figure it out, it would be a better world, and we can enforce these things, and we could create this society where we don't have crime, we don't have all of the ills of society, poverty, and these things. But so far, we haven't done that. So I would think that not only does the insect not have the mental capacity, but mankind doesn't have the mental capacity. I believe that I seen UFOs flying above the sky, right? You know why I see them just flying around and they never did anything to stop? I believe they looking for intelligent life, but they ain't found it yet. But go ahead, sir.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
mean,
think the
if
problem here, brother, I think the problem here, family, is that what you're doing is you're not taking into account that all forms of evolution, whether you're talking about biological evolution or in this case social evolution, is change over time. And so you have to
Mm-hmm.
look at the amount of time it takes to get the results. And it's going to be a matter of every individual participating. And as long as we have divisive things like religion and our divisive politics and divisive social structures that are all causing division, it's going to retard the process. And I don't mean that when I say use that word,
Right.
I mean to slow the process down, right? I'm not talking about
Right.
uh, being disrespectful to handicapped people when I say that. So I want to make
Right.
sure I shouldn't say the R word like that anymore because people
No.
misunderstand that. But we're going to reduce our capacity to
Right.
progress is if individuals don't accept their own culpability to
We.
morality.
I
It's the
agree with that.
morality that each of us is individually responsible to the group because we have to
Right.
work within the group, which is what we've all been trying to basically convey to you in our own way is that
Yeah.
it's got to be a group effort that's supported by individuals.
True. Yeah. You can have that, which is why we come up with laws. Correct. Ultimately. Right. People get together. They go
Yeah, that's
downtown
exactly
and
right.
be
That's the
right.
motivation. That's the
They
motivation for our laws. That's correct.
right.
yeah,
Right. I agree. But like I said, man, I just think that mankind thinks he knows the way. But I'm saying that nah, mankind, you're lost. You don't know the way. Because if you knew the way, we would get to that point a lot quicker. You're trying
what
to
is the
figure out
way?
the way.
What is
You're
the
trying to
way?
figure. I believe the way is to keep the commandments. And pretty much what he was just saying. He said that, if we can get everybody to, meaning if you can get everybody to follow the law, if you get everybody to follow the laws that you have set in place within your state, city, country, whatever, you feel like, hey, we can
So,
create a better society.
so there's a larger art or larger conversation to be had about the Ten Commandments and the laws that God
Right.
passed down, and we can do that. But this stream has been going for 3 hours, so I'm going
Yeah,
to kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
wrap
it
it up.
has. But I'll say this, man. Thank y'all guys for the conversation, man. And the
Email me,
re-
and if you email me like today or tomorrow or something, I'll have you on next Saturday, and we can have a
right,
full conversation and really get into some of the details of some of the things you're talking about, if you
you
want.
know, and I'll concede as my last statement is no matter where I started, I'll end with ultimately, I think that nothing would matter. And that's the conclusion I come to after atheism, that nothing would matter. And I get what you guys say, and I got your point. Thank y'all for the conversation, man. I'll email you that I'll give you my email. And like I say, man, this is one of the first. That's the reason why we went so long, because this is probably one of the best conversations I had with atheists. So I
So,
thank y'all for that experience, man. And y'all gentlemen have a great day.
do you make content, fireman?
No, but I do this regularly. I called into other atheists. I called into Atheist Experience. You probably heard of that show before
Yeah,
with
somebody
Matt
mentioned that
Dillon.
when you
Yeah,
came in.
yes, I called and talk heathen before those guys. And I just wanted to call in and have a conversation with y'all. Because this is what I do, man. I like to have conversations of higher frequency. And even if we disagree, that doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's just because I ultimately believe that nobody knows everything. Hell, I don't know it all. I'll tell people, hey, this is what I believe, but guess what? I could be wrong. This is why I keep an open ear and I have conversations with people. And I love this conversation with you atheists.
Who
I love
who did you talk to at Atheist Experience?
it. I think I had a talk with Matt Dillon himself. I talked with him
Oh, so it's been
before.
a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago that I talked to him.
Okay.
But recently I
Okay.
called in, but I can't put my finger on exactly who I talked to. I think it was maybe the younger white guy with the low crop cut, but he got like hair on the top, but maybe some off of the side. You know what I'm talking about. Um uh but I do remember who I talked with Talk Heathen, and it was Kelly laughing.
Kelly's a friend of mine.
Yeah, I know you guys know each other. That's the reason why
Yeah.
I let it be known that I have talked to those guys also. But our conversation, sadly, couldn't make it as long as the one that I just had with y'all. And I also called the line before too. There's one called the
Yeah,
line. You probably know those guys too.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
this was my first time making this specific talking point. Is when I called with y'all, to talk about
yeah.
right and wrong, good and bad, and morals, who's right, subjective, objective, all of these things. And I enjoy the conversation. I think we got
No,
somewhere,
no,
man.
no, for sure.
I
I
think we
think
got
you're
somewhere.
so I'll be honest here in this little bit of I'm going to let Lou have the final word, but
Yeah,
the so I think you came and expressed your position and you were kind about it. I think some of your views are inconsistent and deeply
of course,
troubling, but that's my opinion and doesn't
of
mean
course you do.
anything. So,
Right.
but I would be more than happy to have you on next Saturday if you want to sit down and have a one-on-one
Yeah,
conversation about this stuff, so we can get into some of the details as to because there's a lot of things that have a lot of nuance to what you're saying about the
yeah,
Ten Commandments and nihilism and all that stuff. So I would like to continue this conversation if you can, and just shoot me an email at the Kentucky Atheist
like
at
I said.
Gmail.
And if
And
you take anything from what I said, you could put all that on a mental hanger too. But ultimately, I believe that after atheism, nothing matters, and that's really my final argument. You're saying that it matters. Morals, good and bad, right or wrong. You're saying that it matters for whatever reason, and I'm ultimately saying that it doesn't matter. I come here,
well,
I die
you're
trying
you're
to die.
you're conflating you're
Now you
conflating
you
atheism
can
with
give your
nihilism.
listen. You can give your argument for why, and you've told me over and over it's better for society, societal contract, and all of these things. Correct? Isn't that
Well,
your reason for morals
no,
and
no. My
values
argument is that
being
your
right?
position is fallacious.
No, no, I'm talking about as far as your stance, sir, not my stance. Your stance on the argument is that we need morality and all that for society, and to keep a better is just a societal
My
contract. Well,
my
correct?
position on morality is based in secular humanism. That's my position on morality. Like
I was just
that's the lens that I view my moral actions from. I don't believe that things such as like moral duty exist, not
right.
objectively anyway. I think there's like
At least you
I think
admitted
that
that
could go either
much.
way. But anyway,
Yeah,
let's stop there because again goes
yeah.
into a whole
We'll
big bunch
stop
of
there.
stuff. So
Right.
shoot me an email.
Fireman.
Objective ethics. You got any debates or anything coming up?
I do have a live debate coming up on the 23rd. We finally got a date set for that. It's going to be about whether or not we should ground society in the Bible. And of course, I'm going to take the
Mm.
negative position on that. And I got to jump in the shower. But, Fireman, it was an honor to speak with you, brother. You're very polite. You're very intelligent. Let me just leave
Oh
you with
man.
just one quick thought here, family, okay?
Mhm.
Uh, Nihilism, I don't think any of us in this stream right here are nihilists. So when you start to argue about the nihilist position, you're kind of
No,
strawmanning where we're
I
coming
never
from.
said that,
And
sir.
I see it as being a natural progression for you. But think about
Right.
nihilism in this way. If you lived in a bakery, you wouldn't care about a particular cupcake, right? But if you only had one cupcake, man, you would treasure that thing and you would value it because it's the only cupcake you're ever going to get. Think about life in this regard. If you can't think about the future for the children and for everybody else and for society and for the group, think about your own life. The quality of life for you is going to be so much better if you focus on this life
See,
and
that's
working
from
with
your
the people
opinion
around
on
you
what's
because
better,
that's
sir.
the most
You don't even see your own bias, but it's fine. You don't see your own bias.
fair enough. Fair enough. I've got to get in the shower and I'll let
All
you
right,
guys finish.
man.
Thank you for letting me jump in here, you
All
guys.
right. All right, man. Have a great day, sir.
Fireman.
Uh, All
But
right. So thanks for coming on Objective
right,
Ethics, and thank you for coming on Fireman.
right,
But today's show was to have a conversation with Lou and get to know Lou a little bit,
right,
and I
right.
think we had a great talk and covered a lot of
Definitely
things,
did.
Yes.
and had a great time discussing it with Fireman and all
Right.
that. So Lou, tell people where you're at, what you got coming up, and all that, and while you're doing it, I'll put your link in the chat.
Well, my channel, Brooklyn Lou the Skeptic, and I'm on YouTube to get people to think. That's the ultimate goal of mine. When I come out of evangelical Christianity and I no longer believe those things, and I'm open to all kinds of dialogue. So, Fireman, if you
Hmm.
want to come on one day, you can pop
Yeah.
on any of my lives. I have no problem talking about these things.
Okay,
Uh,
great.
and
When is your live?
I don't have a schedule. I just pop on. Subscribe to the
Okay,
channel, and you
yes,
probably
sir.
can.
All right, I'll subscribe to you, man, and see if I can catch you. And I
Thank
just
Here,
you.
want to,
link in the
I just
chat
want to
for
make
you.
this one more point before I leave. Just a little bit something.
Yeah,
This
go
is
ahead.
why, if what the gentleman who just said was true in all of these things about the quality of life and all of these things, why
Hmm.
do people commit suicide? Right?
You're asking
You know
about the
what? I'll take that
individual, which is
word.
a
Let me
different
let me
thing.
scratch that word. I'll say, why do people unalive themselves? I forgot. You know, the algorithm is sensitive to certain words. Why
Yeah,
do people
yeah,
unalive
you're all
themselves?
right.
So listen, we're gonna jump on that when I come back on. You can ponder
Sure.
on that topic for a little while, and we could jump right there, my guy, if that's fine
Yeah,
with you.
sure. Be more than
Right,
happy to. And yeah, get over there and talk to Lou. Lou does a lot more of this than I do, as
right,
far as like panels and stuff. I'm down to doing shows once a week. I used to do 3 or 4 a week, but
right.
I do shows pretty much once a week. So go over there in the meantime and talk to Lou
Okay.
and the people that come on over there. They have good talks.
All right.
Um,
I'll check them out, and I'll definitely be back on, and we're gonna start from there.
yeah, yeah,
Why do people unalive themselves? You know, if everything they
sure.
said is true in society, and we'll delve into it from that point. Enjoyed the conversation with you guys, man. This is probably the best conversation I ever had with atheists.
Well,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for this experience, man. We let each other talk. You know, we all talked our talking points. You know, we didn't disrespect each other. Nobody got real angry and all of that. And this is what we need, more of these kind of conversations where we can actually sit down and talk without arguing and name calling, you know. So
I
thank you
agree
guys, man. Y'all have
100%.
a great day. Yeah, thank you, man. Y'all have guys
Yeah.
have, and thank you, man, for admitting that you said that I was intelligent, man. Thank you, man. That meant so much to me because they try to discredit me so much. It was great to hear somebody actually admit that, man, in our debate. So you guys have a great day, man. And by the way, you guys are intelligent too, man. You had a lot of good points that you made, also on your side too. So I give respect where it's given. And you guys have a great day, man. And I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
All right, all right.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Did you get through everything you wanted to say, Lou?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the conversation. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on. I love the dialogue with the guests.
Yeah.
I think that it's definitely fruitful.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a
Well,
good thing, and I just really appreciate you having me on. And if anyone wants to pop on my channel, it's Brooklyn Lou the Skeptic.
yeah. Get over there and subscribe for sure. Uh, so again, I'll probably be on next Saturday. Laura and I will do our show Monday, our Unholy Union, where we're going to talk a little bit about our history of how we ended up where we are as two atheists together in Eastern Kentucky when we don't know another atheist for 100 miles. So we're going to go through some of that. That'll probably be a pretty fun show. People have been liking Laura coming on and stuff, and she's added a lot to it and made some friends and things, and I'm really happy to be able to have her be a part of this too. So that's awesome. Um, as for the conversation we had here today and stuff, obviously I think most of you that I've seen in chat are probably aware of the humanist position and things, and so. That would just be where I would leave it at is I view it through that, and maybe later we'll get into talking about that some, but I want to thank everybody who came and watched, and if you liked what we do, please subscribe, maybe like the video. It helps the channel out a lot. I have memberships that start at 99 cents, and you can check those out. And what else? I think that's all the things that I'm supposed to say. I mentioned memberships and subscribing and all that. So, yeah. But, and thank you, Lou, for coming. We had a great talk. I really did enjoy this. It was a lot of
Yes,
fun.
very
But
nice.
let's,
Thank you.
yeah. But, bye, everybody. Have a great one.